right, I will call the Tuesday, September 9th Select Board meeting to order. It's being recorded tonight on RCTV and Zoom. And then the first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will briefly...
Sorry, I think you're still muted.
Oh. Muted.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. Once again, we're being recorded on RCTV and Zoom. That was the Pledge of Allegiance. Overview of the meeting, 7:05, public comment for any items not on the agenda. 7:15, town manager report. 7:20, community spotlight. 7:25, we'll discuss and vote on 413 Main Street. McDonald's early opening. 7:40, an update from the Reading Food Pantry. 8:10, discuss potential override, budget review, vote on the fire department permit fees from last meeting. 8:25, public information session 1 on the charter changes. Next meeting, the 16th, will be another opportunity for that as well. 9:10, preview subsequent town meeting warrant, which will be voted at the next meeting. 9:30, select board and liaison reports. 9:35, future agendas. And 9:40, discuss and vote to approve meeting minutes from August 26th. So with that, anyone for public comment? Angela.
So, I'm in my house. So let's see how this goes.
Are we doing the timer?
Yes,
Okay.
2 minutes, sorry, 2 minutes and name and address.
Okay, and last week a few people spoke for over 3 minutes. If I'm running a few seconds long, I do hope that I'm afforded the same privilege that they were
I've
afforded.
never cut anyone off, Angela,
Thank you.
other than now, but yes.
So, Angela Binda, precinct 5 meeting member. At the last select board meeting, the select board designee to the Burbank Ice Arena spoke during that time in discussion on Burbank. And there were a few misstatements that were made by the select board designee that I think need to be corrected. Ms. Herrick did state something in the beginning, but I think that it needs to be repeated because there's something that has been, I've heard repeated over the years by select board members and other people. The money that the Burbank gives to the town is a payment in lieu of taxes. It is a rent payment. It is not a donation. At the last town meeting, during an instructional motion, it was stated donation. It has been stated donation several times. It is not a donation. It is a rent payment in lieu of taxes. And I know this because I voted on that in 2011. And I've gone back and read the warrant report. So I do think that that needs to be stated, that it is a rent payment. And I think that this is important because there's also this idea that Burbank gets to decide how the money gets spent. I've heard a select board member state at a FinCom meeting a year and a half ago that it's not our money to decide how it's spent, it's Burbank's money. And the truth is, it absolutely is the town's money and how to spend it. The select board designee also stated at the last meeting, okay, okay, that threw me off for a second.
Sorry.
The select board designee also stated about, he has stated at meetings how he wishes this money to be spent in public and in private conversations. I have paid many rent payments in my day, I have never told the people I am paying that money to how I think that they should best spend it. I think that it is incredibly inappropriate for a board member from the Burbank Ice Arena to be suggesting to town officials, officially and on the record and off the record, how that money gets spent. And lastly, that money was spent, a few hundred $1,000 spent on pickleball. If that money is to be spent this year or next year, I think it would be great that that money goes to the arts, or maybe the town decides that it needs to go to paving roads. I think that there are a lot of ways that that money could be spent. It was never lost money. We knew where it was. Another misstatement by the select board designee that the money was lost and then it was found. It was never lost. We knew where it was. We knew that. So I think that I hope that the select board has a conversation with their designee, and the designee understands the relationship between the town and the ice arena. And at the CPDC last night, somebody said it's Burbank's land, and the assistant town manager corrected them and said, no, it's actually town land. So there's a lot of misperceptions about what the relationship is. I hope those are corrected. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else in the room? Anyone online, Jackie?
I don't see any hands on the line.
Thank you much. All right, we will move on then to town manager report. Matt, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. So first off, I'd like to thank the Reading Rotary Club again for running a successful Fall Street Fair, and to Post 1917 to be being the premier sponsor. And a big thanks to all the volunteers and sponsors that made it such a great success this year. So I wanted to give them a big thank you. Even with the rain, it was a success. Have a quick update on the MBTA Turnback Track. Right now, there's a meeting going on with the direct abutters, interested citizens around the area. That's a smaller meeting meant just for that group. But there will be a larger meeting scheduled with the general public at large. Anybody could go. It's Monday, September 15th, 7 p.m. at the library. It will be in person and on Zoom. You can check the town website for further details on that. So that's, again, the meeting that we've been sort of waiting for the general public to get an update on the Turnback Track. The snow shoveling bylaw, I know we're going to be discussing that a little later tonight as we look to preview the warrant. But in preparation for town meeting, the bylaw committee who's sponsoring that bylaw has scheduled two public forums. The first will be Zoom only and will take place on September 16th at 7:30. And the second is going to be a live one at the library on September 24th at 7:30. And again, links to that information can be found on the town website. So the Finance Committee, it's going to be busy times here. They've scheduled their financial forum to kick off our budget season. So that forum will take place on October 8th at 7 p.m. at the library. All are welcome to that, and that would also be on Zoom as well. I'd want to mention that Chris and I had a good meeting today with Dr. Hickey down at Austin Prep. We went down to see the construction of the new parking lot, which is coming along quite well. They're making progress and doing their best to remedy some of the neighbors' concerns that we heard at the last select board meeting during public comment. We saw a water truck down there that has been watering down the dirt so it doesn't get into people's yards. And they intend to do some more planting and screening, but not until the spring when it's the growing season. They can't get much to grow this time of year, but that is on the plan. And I checked with the police department as well. And as far as we know, the restrictions in the surrounding area are working well. And we hope that continues. We're going to keep a close eye on it, the parking restrictions. But right now, it hasn't been the issue that it was last year, which is great. Probably people had already heard this, but I want to mention Bertucci's in Reading has unfortunately closed. They closed at the end of August and surrendered their liquor license. I understand, however, there's a new restaurant in the works for that location. and we should have some more information on that very soon. And I just wanted to mention, as we approach the 24th anniversary of 9/11 this week, I'd like to take a moment to remember those we lost and those who were injured on that day. Being part of local government, I'd also like to especially remember the brave first responders who responded that day and sacrificed and risked their own lives in the service of others, and I'd like to say you were not forgotten. And that's the report.
Thanks, Matt. So yeah, just two quick follow-ups to that. So the MBTA meeting tonight is for the direct abutters only, correct?
It was set up for a meeting for the abutters. They wanted to invite, I know the police chief and fire chief were down there. The neighbors requested the police chief and fire chief be there as well. I wasn't there because we had this meeting here, but it was
And there's another public forum.
yes, for everybody. But we had said, and I think Jane had said that many times, we had asked for this meeting for just for this group, you know, because they have specific concerns. We asked the MBTA several times, and they did finally schedule the meeting. They, you know, we only found out about it a week or so ago. But it's sort of as preface to the larger meeting that's happening that I mentioned.
So I guess if you could text Karen and find out what her status is, because she should be here at this meeting and not that one,
Okay.
in my opinion. It just seems, I don't know, inappropriate. But if you could find out what her ETA is over here, she didn't tell me, she only told you.
Okay.
And then the meeting that Matt and I had with Dr. Hickey was very eye-opening. I've never been to Austin Prep before, other than to go to field hockey drop-offs over there. But I got the impression after the first couple minutes of meeting him, he's Dr. Milichevsky kind of equivalent, which is a big compliment in my opinion. But I could definitely tell that he has a significant care and everything else that's going on over there, and the school is definitely well maintained. And we did see the water truck, which was good. And he did commit to, there's no plantings on that yellow highlighted area from last time over there, but they're going to be putting them in next spring when they're able to plant. So, I mean, it's progress, and they're, you know, trying to get things done as fast as they can over there. And, you know, that's all we can really hope for. But I mean, the whole property is beautiful, what they did. So,
Yes, no, I agree.
and no, I think that's not with that. Jane, did you have anything?
Nothing special for this evening, just the general, all the good things.
All good things.
Yes. Thank you on the phone
I think
call.
that's a Frozen
All the
reference,
things.
but
It was not, but it
It's not?
could be
I think
accidentally.
that's all off from Frozen. Yes, all good things.
All good things.
All right, so then 720 Community Spotlight, Matt.
Yeah, back to me. So I do have one business spotlight for tonight. Was recently brought to my attention that the Reading restaurant Facili Cucina is celebrating 10 years of operations in Reading this fall. For those of you who remember, they were known as Sam's Bistro about 15 years ago and changed 10 years ago to offer the delicious Italian food they offer now. It had been the same owner, Michael Palmer, and his staff, who were very dedicated to Reading and staying here. So I wanted to congratulate them on 10 years as facilities, I think 15 years in business in Reading, if not longer, and wish them much success in the future. And for those of you who don't know, they're right at the end of Main Street, sort of on the Stoneham border. So that's one. And then I had a one employee spotlight update. So our benefits specialist, who works in our HR department, Avantika Mehta, has just marked her 5-year anniversary here with the town. So I'd like to congratulate her, thank her for her service, and wish her many more successful years in Reading. Sean will tell you she's a big asset to our operation up there. I know she's a Merrimack College grad, and it was one of her first jobs to come here to Reading, and she was very excited to come, and she is still here and working very hard up there. So those are my 2 spotlights for tonight.
Thank you. All right, 725, discuss and vote on 413 Main Street early opening. Is police chief or anybody presenting for this, or?
No, well, we have, I think, is anybody here from McDonald's? Okay, no? Okay, I thought McDonald's was gonna be here. But they had, if you,
Want to give them a few minutes, or did they say they were going to come?
I thought they, are they on Zoom, Jackie? Anybody from McDonald's on Zoom?
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay. Well, it's fairly self-explanatory if you look at your
I
packet.
guess we can skip this one for now then, and because the food pantry's here, right, Simone?
Okay.
And are you all ready to present possibly? Yes, if we bump you,
Okay.
get to get home earlier, go to McDonald's. All right, so are we all good with that, skipping for right now? All right, so
you wanna
update
come
from the
back?
food pantry.
Yeah, come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back. It's
Okay.
supposed to be a public hearing, so, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Simone Payment, the director of the Reading Food Pantry, and I'm here with Sean Tesoro, who's our board president. He's going to speak in a little while. Will we have the slides from our presentation on the screen?
Jackie can put them up and you can
Okay.
tell her when to go forward.
Okay,
You have them, Jackie? Thank you.
that's the last one.
All right.
That's it. Thank you very
All
much.
right, well, it's been great. You wore green and everything for nothing.
Great, thank you so much. So thank you to the select board and town staff for having us here tonight. To Karen for inviting us. We have members of our board and our capital campaign committee and some of our awesome volunteers here with us tonight. And we appreciate them for coming with us and showing their support. Also, a quick note that today is National Hunger Action Day. So it's particularly fitting that we're here tonight. 1 in 3 Massachusetts residents are food insecure, and the number in Middlesex County is slightly lower at 1 in 4, but that's still a significant number. So there are quite a few people struggling to get enough to eat, and it's often a hidden problem. So I appreciate being able to present here tonight and get the word out about the pantry. So we can go to the next slide. It's actually the last slide again. Great. So the Reading Food Pantry opened in 1979 from a closet in the Old South Church right across the street. When we opened, we served just a few Reading residents on kind of an informal basis, and now we are open 2 times a week, and we have a delivery program, and we're serving many more Reading residents than we were even a few years ago. This is due to economic changes and rising costs of not only food, but also housing, insurance, all kinds of costs have gone up, so people have to make hard choices about where to spend their money. Many residents have come to rely on the pantry, and the use of pantry has increased substantially in the last 3 to 4 years. We can go to the next slide. In 2024, we served as many as just over 400 residents each month. And we had the help of 100 amazing volunteers, and we distributed 15,219 bags of food to more than 4,000 residents over the course of the year. Because we're serving so many people and we're operating out of a shared space, we have outgrown our current space, and that has led to several challenges. If we can go to the next slide. So as we expect the need for the pantry to continue to grow, we will continue to face these challenges that I'm going to discuss now, including limited accessibility. People have to line up for service to the pantry in the parking lot and out into the street, and come in only a few people at a time. We also have a very inefficient layout because it's a shared space, and we have to pull everything out and then put everything everything back at the end of the service hours. And it causes traffic jams for the volunteers filling orders. And our food storage is spread across many rooms in the church, some in the basement, some on the main floor. And that can affect the safety of volunteers. We're going up and down the stairs quite frequently. On the next slide. We also have multiple refrigerators and freezers spread across 5 different rooms, which leads to energy inefficiency and limits our ability to store food, which sometimes prevents us having sufficient inventory between our trips to the Greater Boston Food Bank, which occur every 2 weeks. Also importantly, the pantry is up a flight of stairs, so people with limited mobility have a hard time accessing the pantry. As I mentioned, we do have a delivery program that goes to about 37 people 2 times a month for people who physically can't come to the pantry, but there are a lot of residents who have mobility challenges, do want to still visit the pantry in person, but getting in the building is a bit slow for some people. So as I mentioned, we've outgrown the space that we're currently using at Old South, and we have considered a long-term agreement for expansion at the church. And over the past several years, pantry leadership has explored various other options around town to provide a home that's big enough for the pantry to grow and expand. We've been unable to find that perfect location until now, and Sean is going to talk a little bit about some potential opportunities for us.
Thank you so much. Good evening. And first, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Select Board for their longstanding support of the pantry. I'm a sucker for symmetry, and it was this meeting 2 years ago, if you remember, that we had come. We hadn't yet gotten, we're just in the process of getting our own 501c3, and we needed funds to be able to facilitate that effort and to get to the point where we are now to continue serving the increased number. And that was in no small part, through the help of the town. So again, thank you for your continued support. An update in terms of the structure of the pantry. So we had established the 501c3 and then set on the mission of, okay, well, how do we take to heart the ability to continue to improve our finances and get to a point where we really are continuing to sustain our own operations? Because I remember that was something that was a question that we had gotten from this group at that time was, great, we have some funds available from the town, but what are you going to do to be able to make sure that you're not coming back over and over again? And so one of the things that we had done is we had taken it upon ourselves to create a capital campaign finance committee. So earlier this year, we created that finance committee made up of community members, staff members, volunteers, and also our consultant that has been meeting monthly, going over different ideas, building and developing our lists of campaign opportunities and how to be able to build the network that will make the pantry more self-sustainable in the future. And the biggest benefit is the opportunity to increase our fundraising over time. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So given the current environment and the challenges that we have with, as Simone mentioned, inflation that just seems to stay higher than what anyone expected, increased food costs, changes in potential programs, possible reductions in things like SNAP and food snaps, the food SNAP program. We're anticipating and already seeing that there is going to be a continued and an increased need for the services that we provide in the community. And so with that in mind, and with the effort that we put into trying to find a suitable location, we would respectfully request from this group the opportunity to make the Pleasant Street Center the permanent home of the Reading Food Pantry. It wasn't something that we expected, but as as we were going through and having our capital campaign meetings, and then when the vote came through and that became a possibility, we figured it was worth putting our hand up and at least staking a claim that it is something we think would be valuable for the town and would be a great resource for us for a number of different reasons. If you think about all of the things that Simone just mentioned, number one, it's centrally located in the middle of town. It's a stone's throw away from where we are right now. It increases the dedicated space where, with increased need, one of the challenges we have right now is that we're only available during certain hours at Old South, where having our own contained dedicated space would allow us greater control of distribution hours and also the opportunity to serve more residents. The existing infrastructure also is attractive in that it would not require a lot of changes or retrofitting. And so when you think about the capital expense of trying to find a new location, something that is almost ready-made for something like the pantry would make that transition significantly easier so that it would be a smooth transition from where we are now to a new space. Increased parking and accessibility, as Simone had mentioned, the stairs and the inability to have the ramps to be able to get in is a concern. And also, the positive use of the building in the local community to support local residents. And again, I would be remiss if I didn't say that one of the things that we are considering is just partial use of that space, primarily on the first floor. And that would still retain some additional space in the upstairs for more or other groups within the town to be able to access and utilize that space for a true town effort. And last but not least, one of the things that, again, given the help of this group, we've worked at and we are now launching is the ability to have a community kitchen where we can also help prepare meals to be able to for distribution, not just the food that we've been doing since day one, but quite honestly, being able to make sure that we have some sustainability built into it. So we'll get, anything from truckloads of Brussels sprouts to, potatoes to carrots. I mean, any number of different things that, again, have a shelf life that if you don't have enough space to be able to put it, what are you going to do with it? In a lot of cases, that was going into a compost bin. So, with the dedicated space and now with all of the other benefits that we would have, it'd really be an opportunity to then, repurpose a lot of that into actual food that we can give back to local residents. And so that's really our ask is just the consideration that, when the time comes, that the food pantry be part of that consideration set.
Just to finish up, I want to mention that if anyone needs to use the pantry, we invite them to come see us on Monday nights between 6:30 and 7:30, or Friday mornings between 10:30 and 11:30. And if people want to donate, there are bins at Market Basket and Stop and Shop, and we're available at the pantry Wednesday afternoons between 4:30 and 6, and Thursday mornings between 10 and 12 for people to come in directly. And on our website and on our Facebook page, you'll find donation information. Thank you again for having us. Other questions?
Board members? Carlo.
Your current situation at the church, Your current situation at the church, are there any, fees exchanged for the use, or it's just a donation by the church?
Yeah, currently that's the situation.
All right, and you would expect the same from us, from the Pleasant Street Center?
We're just here to start the conversation, so that's certainly something we'd be happy to discuss.
Great.
But to that end, one thing I would mention, we have built into the financials now, because we're required to report as a 501c3. So we built into the financials the necessity of having some version of a rent payment, because the expectation was that regardless of where we ended up, it's not always going to be the benefit of the blessing we've had of being at the church. So it is something that we've taken into consideration in our plan.
I remember from a few years ago, in my mind, you wanted to waste money on a consultant to help you find a space that could have been used for the food pantry. That's the way I look at it. So I'm guessing you didn't choose that path.
Correct.
All right. So the Pleasant Street is an ongoing discussion, obviously, for the town, for the board, and for the community. And what other sites have you identified that could be suitable if people made enough donations to pay the rent? Or have you identified any other sites in town that would be suitable for your needs?
Yeah, we do have a potential option at the church. It requires significant infrastructure investment to make that happen. And then at the end of it, it's not our space.
Right. Are there any other churches or nonprofits in town that have more space, that unutilized space, I should say? Have you reached out to all the?
Not that we've identified. No.
Okay.
There's one consideration of the Baptist church down the street. But it's an early consideration that one of their back parking lots, could be converted into a dedicated space. But one of the charges that we have for the board, the capital campaign committee, is to continue to identify alternative sites because, nothing's guaranteed. We don't, even with our current situation. So understood, we need to keep exploring and, things change and opportunities present themselves. So we're trying to keep our eyes open for everything.
How many square feet do you currently have, approximately?
I think it's hard to say because it's so fractured, but 2,000 maybe.
Okay, roughly 2,000. And
But again,
I
we have
gotcha. Yeah, the flow is not good. No, I totally get it. So would double that satisfy you think your needs a little bit better or more than double that?
No, I mean, we've sort of talked about 3,000
Okay.
as sort of an ideal.
Ideal. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And, I'd like to extend the invitation to any board member to come and visit the pantry. I'll be happy to give a tour and show you how things are currently laid out.
Anyone else? Melissa?
I just wanted to say thank you for coming here tonight and thank you for all that you do for the residents of this town. Really appreciate it. It's clearly something that's needed here in town. So I really like this idea. With that being said, I think that we'd have to have more conversations about, some sort of rent agreement just because with the status of the town and money, we can't just say, I don't think it can be for free, but I would love to continue these conversations. I think it would be a great location. I think it sounds like not only would it be centrally located in downtown, parking, and also if you are going to improve an infrastructure, a lot of it may already be there. So you could save some of that money that you may have to put into the church to improve a kitchen or stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys coming and I would love to continue this conversation with you.
Great.
Thank you.
If I could just close with one other piece, because when you said, what you do in helping the residents, it's fresh in our minds because we were just at the town fair yesterday, and we had a booth in which we've done, to try to participate in all of the town events. And I wasn't there when it happened, Simone was, but a resident came up and brought us a gift, brought a flower, that they wanted to show as a gift, and she said, you helped me in 2016, I think she had said. And, I was in a really difficult spot, had a tough time for a pinch, and you guys were there and you helped me out, and I just wanted to say thank you. So I think there is a real impact for the local community.
100%.
Karen?
I really was gonna just mirror what Melissa said, and I'm super excited to be working with you, and I think it's a perfect location for you all. Big question, how many jelly beans were in the jar yesterday?
1960.
1960.
Someone guessed 1957.
Oh, wow.
His birth year, but he declined the jelly beans, and so the runner-up is coming in tomorrow to claim.
They had a lot of people visiting for the cake and the jelly beans.
Yes.
Yeah, it was nice.
And just very quickly, anecdotally, last night we were open and we served 24 households, which equates to 72 people. Three households were new, and we're seeing that almost every time we're open now. We're seeing one or two new residents, and we do anticipate that that's going to increase when the SNAP cuts go through in about 9 or 10 months.
Do you think that you're gonna have to increase the hours you're open to satisfy residents? Or, do you know what I mean? It seems
I
like it's
mean,
very
when
tight
we were
window.
serving even more people than we are now, we, ended up being open for longer stretches, but at the church, we just don't have flexibility really due to other groups using the church at different times. So that's one of the great advantages of Pleasant Street Center, as Sean mentioned, that we could expand our hours to, adding a day, being open for longer stretches.
Okay.
And just also quickly, another advantage of the Pleasant Street location, I think, is visibility. We're constantly working to reduce the stigma using the pantry, and I think the more the pantry is seen as just a welcoming place for people to come the Pleasant Street Center is sort of already known for that, at least in the senior community. We would hope that that would increase if we were located there full time.
I guess for me, so you serve exclusively Reading? So there's no outside? And it's hard to actually imagine that we have that many people in Reading. I would have guessed like
Yeah.
100 or so. I wouldn't have went up as high as you are.
That's what it used to be,
Yeah.
but it's grown so much. We do serve, if somebody comes here from another town, we'll serve them one time and then, funnel them to the resource that's appropriate for their town. But yeah, it is, as I mentioned before, it's kind of a hidden problem. People don't want to talk about it. That's why we always say, if you know somebody, if you need help, or if you know somebody who does, we encourage people to just come visit us. We're very friendly and helpful and accommodating.
And you're only looking for the first floor, which leaves the top and basement, right?
I think we probably need to use the basement as well.
That is
as
fine.
part of that for storage, just given how much space we have to take up for storage. I think we probably need to use some of that ground floor.
And you're aware of all the reasons why we had to move out of the building per se, which in theory you would be inheriting smelly gas, weird funky basements, all this kind of.
We're kind of used to that.
But yeah, I mean, for me, this seems, obviously the Montessori school come here before, and I was like, we could be fair, Reading 501c3, the whole spiel. And you are a Reading 501c3 that has been here forever. Is a good community asset, is actively looking on Facebook for donations all the time, every single month guaranteed, but beyond that, like daily almost kids and all these other fundraisers that are happening. So I think that it makes sense, and it's easier for me because when the building came in appraised at $800,000 or something, which is like insane. Like we're not letting the building go for $800,000, in my opinion. It seems easier to, rent out to a staple community partner in Reading, as well as to have some office space up top. I told Matt briefly about maybe moving the retirement board over there or something because they have an office in Haven and they have to pay for it. And I don't think we benefit, Matt. It's only the retirement board that would benefit, but still, it could be a win-win kind of thing. But these are all just the ideas out there kind of thing, But no, I mean, I think it makes sense over there. Obviously, the location is perfect for that. I can already imagine the sign that you would have compared to someone maybe sees it looking real quick over there. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good that can come from this in the future. But also, it does have to be fair. But not, at least to me, this is on the lower fair level compared to, you know what I mean? Because you've been here forever, and it is a legit 501c3 charity where you're doing, volunteer work and all of that. So, I mean, for me, it's a lot easier. Obviously, we have to have discussions, and if you want to share offline budgetary, what you're kind of thinking, and touch base with staff, and, we'll see what we can do for that. But I would like to obviously get the top floors, somebody in there, and then we'll get the big outlook on what we really can do with this building. If it's, do we even have to procure this? We do, even for them? Yes. Jane, if you want to speak.
No, we're getting off topic here, so.
Is it?
Yeah, well, we're talking about the Pleasant Street Center specifically.
I'm not,
Has to do with the Pleasant Street.
I won't, just to the procurement process, not specifically to the building. We do, if we're going to lease the space there, if it meets certain thresholds for potential rent and size and so forth, then we have to go through a procurement process. It would be an RFP process, and we would solicit that through formal channels. it will also be on our website. And then people would have to submit an RFP. It's a pretty rigorous process. And so that's something that we should, you as the board may want to take up how we want to go about that. And then we'll craft that RFP and put it on the
That's
street.
future meeting or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But
Don't have
yes,
to
it
say any
does
more
have
on
to be
that. And then quasi semi-food pantry-ish related, because obviously you'll need to raise more funds if you plan on renovating or something over there. I know during the Commission of Trust Funds meeting that we have millions of dollars in hospital fund. And I asked AI at the time, and I'm not sure that I actually said it publicly or not, but I will now. AI seems to believe that we can have a food hospital in Reading. So if there's a loophole for us to allow this to happen, it seems we might as well do something with the money. So I'm not sure how we explore that in the future, but I mean, AI has been wrong in the past, but I mean, what else are we going to lose on this? So just something to think about, and who knows, maybe, because then that's going to be like best food pantry in the entire state, and that you won't know what to do. But no, I appreciate you coming in, and I'm happy that we could help out with, especially with the ARPA money, with the gift cards and freezers, right, or refrigerators back then. So it's good to see that you're progressing. It's unfortunate that numbers go up, but at least you're there to meet the needs. So that's all I got. Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Just one quick question that in the conversation that just came across my mind. So being in the middle of town is great for people to walk there and, you know, for exposure for people, donations and all that. Do you feel like there could be any issue with people coming in because it's so centrally located and other people may see them? Would that be any concern? Just something to think about. I just wouldn't, you know, would hate for people not to come because they felt like it was, for privacy issues, and like it's a little more open over there where kind of it's tucked back over there. Just something to think about. It just kind of crossed my mind, but that's all. Thank you.
I think to that point, I think there's an entrance in the back of Pleasant Street, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's something for you guys to work out. But yeah, no, I catch what she's saying.
We may change our service model. You know, right now everybody comes at once and gets in a line. We may move to an appointment system where we have people come in like 20-minute blocks. It is our hope that in the new space, people would be able to come in and shop for themselves. Right now, volunteers pack orders and then bring it out to people's cars. And then people who visit the pantry can come in and choose from unlimited produce and miscellaneous items. But for the standard orders, the volunteers are packing the orders. And so things like, you know, choices of what kind of cereal or what flavor of jelly, you know, are left to the volunteer. And we're hoping that in a new space, people would be able to come in and make their own choices from the food that's on the shelves. And I do want to say thank you to the Reading to the Reading community, who's been fantastic to us in terms of donations, and as Chris mentioned, doing drives all the time at schools and sports teams. The girls volleyball team is doing a food drive for us next week, and the people of Reading have really stepped up to help us, so we really appreciate that. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, just, anyone from the public have anything in the room? Anyone online? Jackie?
No hands online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if Rob is listening, but I got a message that RCTV on YouTube is skipping, and I brought it up myself, and it's just spinning around in a circle. So I'm not sure if anything he can do on his end. But thank you, Rob. All right. So McDonald's, do we have nobody still here from McDonald's?
It was
Online?
somebody joined online, but I'm not sure if Jackie, are they from McDonald's? The person on the Zoom?
I'm not sure. There's someone who joined as Reading. Are you from McDonald's?
Why does this not-
Probably not. So probably not, but well, there's several things we can do. I mean, we can open the public hearing and, take any public information and then continue it. I could check with McDonald's. The motion seems to be, I know Karen had some questions on the motion. It seems to be correct. It's just the way we had to write it. But it's up to you, or I can reach out again to McDonald's if they're not here tonight, have them come to the next meeting. But it's a public hearing, so we had to notice it. So that's why I'm saying maybe open it and continue it. But
It is a public hearing?
Yes.
yeah,
It doesn't say it on the agenda.
we have the public hearing notice.
Oh, it's separate.
Yes, yeah.
So I guess this seems, we have, at least for me, I have enough information to vote. I saw the memo from the police. We have a, what's it called again? Since we did it for somebody else, precedent.
President, right.
So I guess first we'll just open the public hearing, Karen, if you want to read that.
To the inhabitants of the town of Reading, please take notice that the Select Board of the town of Reading will hold a public hearing on September 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Select Board Meeting Room, 16 Lowell Street, Reading, Massachusetts, and remotely via Zoom to act on a request for early opening at 5 a.m. for McDonald's at 413 Main Street. A copy of the proposed documents regarding this topic will be in the Select Board packet on the website at www.readingma.gov. All interested parties are invited to attend the hearing or may submit their comments in writing to town manager at readingmass.gov. By order of Matthew A. Cornelis, Esquire, town manager.
Thanks, Karen. So I guess, did you want to just briefly go over?
Yeah, it's fairly simple. So McDonald's is the restaurant. They're asking for early opening. So they currently open at 6. They want to be able to open at 5. And according to their letter, which we got, they want to open one drive-through lane at 5 as well, which it posed a problem before about drive-through. The police department, they're okay with the early opening. The drive-through gives them pause because, neighbor is in amplified sound. So you may want to, if you decide to approve this, limit it to the store itself and not the drive-through. And I believe that's what we did on Bagel World as well. I could double check that. So that's the crux of it. There isn't any further information that they'd probably be able to provide anyway, but that's what we know. So.
And a notice was sent to abutters back?
Whatever legally we were required to do, we did. I think it was just put in the newspaper, but yeah, I think that's. I can double check. Again, we can see, but I think generally with these, we just put the notice. We have it. We have a public hearing. We hear it. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if the residents don't know about this.
Yeah, the police department did check it out and see if there were any noise complaints, anything like that, but I don't think they went door to door.
No, right. And we can all say it's only 1 hour, but.
Yeah, no, it's a concern for sure.
I mean, I walked past there and the fence is very, very high and it looks like there's only one house behind it. And then another one's kind of diagonal. So I think it's really just that one house right behind it.
Okay.
From what I can see.
Anyone else? Melissa?
Just a couple things. I assume they'd be looking for the early opening for 5 a.m. 7 days a week. Because Deputy Chief Anna Madola just something in her reply to us is that it says the select board waiver policy appears only for Monday through Friday, but I'm pretty sure we allowed Bagel World to open 7 days a week early, not drive through, just inside the store, correct?
Yeah, 7 days a week.
I think so, 7 days a week, yeah. I wasn't sure what Deputy Andola was getting at for that, but I mean, I think you could allow 7 days a week. I think that she just phrases it a little differently.
I mean, I'm in support of them opening at 5 a.m., but inside the store only, not the drive through. We didn't allow Bagel World to do it, so I don't think it would be right for us to allow McDonald's to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Karen?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm under the same mindset. It is a happy medium between the both. They wanted one, we did them in the middle, and it, in theory, isn't going to really impact the one or two residents that are over there, but I'm not sure who's going there at 5 in the morning anyway. And if anything, it's going to be very minimalistic. So I'm fine with just being inside open at 5 and not the drive-through still. Because I do see they do put the sign out there at night. They have like a little pylon thing, not allowing people on the closest drive-through to that fence that you just mentioned, Karen. So they do put
I
stuff
think
out
it's
there.
interesting because it's dark, you know, it's gonna be dark at 5 o'clock at night anyway, and so there's more noise at night than there is at 5 o'clock in the morning, so.
Yeah.
I mean, whether they want to revisit it at a later date, I don't know, but,
Alrighty. Anyone from the public? On McDonald's 413 Main Street. Anyone online, Jackie?
No, no one online.
If you want to close the public hearing?
move to close the public hearing regarding the early opening request for 413 Main Street.
Second.
Seconded by Carlo. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 4-0. And then on to the actual motion. So this we would be modifying.
Yeah, I think you would want to just exclude the drive-through, so maybe the license is approved for approval to open for business no earlier than 5 a.m., maybe excluding the drive-through, or the drive-through shall open no earlier than 6, which is what it is now. We can add some language there.
Yeah, so currently our motion says move to, I mean, obviously it says a lot more, but
Yeah.
move to approve a license to operate a retail business between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. pursuant to a bunch of stuff. So we would change it to move to approve a license to operate a retail business between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. And then excluding the drive-through until 6 a.m.
I would say, I think, well, the first part of that motion where they talk about midnight to 6 p.m. pursuant to 7.7, that's what it says in 7.7. So they're actually, I think the way it's written is you state that as part of the bylaw, and then you exclude it in the paragraph after when it says the license should be no earlier than 5 a.m. Because right now they open at 6 a.m. So you want to have them make sure that they have relief under the first part of the bylaw and then restrict it to 5, and so they're not opening at midnight. I know it gets a little technical, but yeah.
Did you get that, Karen?
Yeah.
I'd leave everything
Like a
alone
second
except
opinion?
for, yeah.
So I'm going to add in the sentence that says this license is for approval to open the business not earlier than 5 a.m. indoors only. Is that where I put
Yeah,
it?
I think that would be, that's fine. That would exclude the drive-through, yeah.
And 6 a.m. for drive-through, like specifically call it out, or?
I don't think you have to mention it, they have it already.
I think they have it already. I mean,
Oh, in the first paragraph?
if you want to be more clear, you can put it that way, but yeah.
I think I'd rather be more clear on this.
Okay.
I don't want it to be like. up
Right,
for-
and just so they say, and 6 a.m. for the drive-through then.
No, we don't want the drive-through open, so I think it has to be called out.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
indoors only and 6 a.m. for the drive.
Right.
Okay, ready?
Anyone from the, well, I already did the public. Yes,
Move to approve a license to operate a retail business between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. pursuant to Section 7.7 of the Reading General Bylaws and further pursuant to Section 3.8 of the Select Board Policies to McDonald's, 413 Main Street. This license is for approval to open for business not earlier than 5 a.m. indoors only and 6 a.m. for the drive-through. In granting this license, the board finds, 1, in accordance with Section 7.7.4.1 of the general bylaws, that the operation of the establishment will not cause unreasonable disruption or disturbance to or otherwise adversely affect the customary character of any adjacent or nearby residential neighborhood, and 2, in accordance with Section 7.7.4.2 of the general bylaws, that the operation of the establishment is reasonably necessary to serve the public health, safety, and welfare, serves a public need, and provides a public convenience which outweighs any increase in the impacts on the adjacent or nearby residential.
seconded by Williamson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, 4-0. Thank you, Karen. All right, so we will move on to 8:10, discuss potential override budget review, vote on fire department permit fees. Chief Nelson.
So this is in follow-up to the last meeting, and so we actually have a vote for you this meeting. So I thought it was appropriate to still put it under this agenda item.
So do you have just something brief prepared that you just wanted to go over?
I mean, for the most part, it's just. That's not green, that's not right.
There we go.
All right, so for the most, what I presented to you last time I was here, all I'm presenting to you tonight is a cleaned up version, taking the highlights out. All the fees are exactly what we were. The added permits are exactly what we had on. And then if you remember, there was some permits that were going to be removed because we didn't, they're part of like the building permit fees or other things like that. So this is everything that we discussed, just a nice streamlined version that we start using day to day. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Board members?
No, looks good.
I don't have any questions.
I guess, did you receive any feedback from the last meeting? Any criticism, praise, anything? Or carry on?
Nope, just exactly whatever I left here with the criticism and praise was what I had, what I got on this. So nothing additional.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Anyone from the public? Anyone on Zoom, Jackie?
No one on Zoom.
Perfect. I appreciate you doing this, obviously, and hopefully this goes the direction that we want it to. So, Karen, you have a motion?
Move that the board adopt the updated fire department permit fee schedule as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? 4-0. Quickest meeting for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Chief.
Should we move Charter or no? 'Cause there's a couple people.
Well,
or
Ivrea is jumping on at 8, so in a few minutes she'll be on for the charter review. So she's planning on being here for 8 for that. So
we are never ahead of schedule.
I know.
Yeah, we've been ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Minutes? I mean, do we want to do minutes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Minutes?
We're gonna kill a few minutes.
Perfect. Minutes for minutes. All right, Jackie, if you want to bring up the minutes, page 97 of the packet. Did anyone have any changes? Can we change it? Something?
No, we're good.
No?
No.
Good.
No? Jane, you have anything?
No, we stop, just do it. Whatever.
Okay.
I had no changes either. I'm like all frazzled now. I don't know what to do with my time.
All right, Karen, motion.
Motion? Yes, thank you, Carla.
To approve the meeting minutes of August 26, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Carlo. Hold on, we didn't have public comment. Anyone from the public? Online, still nobody?
Show you all in minutes.
Still nobody.
All right, so all those in favor? 4-0. We are still ahead.
We can do something else. Can we?
I mean, the warrant is a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Same
you
thing
can
with
do
charter.
liaison. I mean, if you wanted to do a liaison report or two.
Yeah, let's bang that out.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Who wants to go first?
I think Karen's the longest, so Karen should go first.
You know, it was very short. This
Oh.
week is very busy.
Karen was on vacation. Go ahead, Karen.
I'll do them quickly, though. Eastern Gateway had a meeting. We went over the forum results. A lot of positive feedback from the town meeting members that looked at the plans. I attended via Zoom the permanent building committee meeting just to catch up and see what was going on. I'm sure whoever was at the meeting would cover that. I met with town meeting member Ron Powell at his office hours. It's in precinct 3. He's a new volunteer on the Council on Aging and RCTV. And he just wanted to catch up with me and tell me he's really enjoying his positions, and he's holding office hours once a month at the library, and which I thought was a great idea, and especially since town meeting's coming up. So anyone listening from Precinct 3, please go visit Ron at his office hours. Went to the fall fair in rain, really nice turnout. And last night was 2 meetings, Council on Aging. I went and presented my blurb. They had a couple of updated things. They kind of had to keep it short because some people were coming here to the CPDC meeting. So they kept a lot of the discussions off the agenda, but they're looking forward to the draft operations plan from town staff and John Sasso. That's upcoming. I also I had a meeting with the Town Forest Committee last night, reviewed the map of the progress of invasive plant removal. Exciting, we're going to have a public community buckthorn removal event on October 18th, which should be very exciting. Had a discussion about educational programming opportunities for both students and adults, invasive plant lessons, things like that. There is a bird walk scheduled for October 4th by Dave Williams. There's an upcoming Massachusetts Town Forest Conference that a member or two is going to attend. And they provided an update on the sign installation in the forest with the new rules and regulations, which is great.
Melissa.
Thank you. So our RCTV working negotiation group has been meeting at least once a week over the past couple of weeks. I know Matt gave an update last week. And so the draft contract that the group has come up with is being reviewed by legal counsel for the town and RCTV currently. And we do have another meeting scheduled this week. School committee did not vote in favor of the Mulberry Forest Montessori School that came before them, and conservation. The failed house project, floor project, has been completed and it looks beautiful. Conservation at their last meeting discussed the shutdown of Matera Cabin, and they're hoping to work with town to get that squared away with the building inspector and find out what needs to happen there. The last several meetings of CPDC, both the big town projects went in front of CPDC. Killam was approved. Brickell went in front of them twice, and the last meeting, I know that there was the discussion about working with Burbank to do an addendum to their lease for shared parking. And I believe they're going to go back in front of CPDC just to do some clarification on some ADA access and parking, and also hopefully the addendum to the lease. And that's all I have.
Carlo.
All righty. So Fall Street Fair, the CPA Community Preservation Act had a tent on Haven Street, and some of us volunteered and manned it. And Martha Moore was nice enough to bring some marbles and a couple jars and the different percentages that we had as kind of a pseudo focus group. And we had 0.5%, and 1.5%. And a lot of people came out, they were curious. We had a map that town staff provided of the entire town, some of the historic buildings, and it showed all the open space. So when I was there, the most popular marble cup was probably 1% and 1.5%. We explained the benefits of CPA, and we had some graphics on what it would impact your house roughly, depending on what it's worth. So that was good, and for the most part, the rain held out. A lot of people came down. I was very nervous in the morning. We've never had this much rain at one time at Fall Street Fair all these years, but people came out a little bit more sparse than normal for vendors, but hopefully that'll get better in the future. So last night I watched the CPDC meeting, just to piggyback what Melissa said. I won't mention the recal. Most of you know it as the Century 21 Boardwalk property on Main Street. That got approved with waivers. And the main event last night was the Primrose School. And a lot of neighbors came out and were very concerned with safety and parking, coming in and out, it being on Route 28. And no long meeting for CPDC. They're outdoing us pretty well now. And basically, there's going to be continue to another meeting and to go over the decision. So I don't want to speak for CPDC, but the applicant has met a lot of the requirements and, going by our bylaws for that. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Carlo. I'll echo sentiments about the street fair. It's always one of the premier events in Reading for the whole year. So it's good to see at least the rain subsided towards the end. And there was definitely a lot of people still out regardless, which was good to see. As Matt and I mentioned earlier, we went to Austin Prep today to meet with Dr. Hickey and look over the school and the parking that they're doing over there. It also got brought up that they don't need to use our parking down at the depot anymore. I think we approved that or we didn't, and if we did, we gotta undo it.
I'm not sure you voted on it. I know it was discussed though.
Yeah.
I have to check.
So then we don't have to. So it's good to see that it's moving in the right direction over there. Last night at Killam, the big takeaway, at least for me, was we're saving $500,000 now by swapping to a lower generator because we don't need a shelter in place there because they would rather have it over at the new Recal Center. So $500,000 being saved. I don't know if it goes up $500,000 the other direction, but no.
We counted on it for both projects.
Oh, all right. Oh,
knowing that.
so we are actually saving $500,000.
Yeah.
Well, we can all go home. So that's good to see with that. I met with Heather Klisch, chair of CPDC. We went over the master plan committee, kind of what we're going to do with that. So they haven't had it on their most recent agendas because obviously all the town stuff and Primrose School up till like 12:30 last night. So they haven't been focusing on that, but she hopes to have something done in October for us, and then we can kind of collab on that.
Great.
So that's the takeaway for that. For just another update in the community, the Angeloni family had a house fire on Libby Ave. And there is a GoFundMe set up by a Reading resident, Caitlin Mercurio. So if anyone wants to donate to that, they would just go to GoFundMe and put in the search box and just type in Angeloni family. And it's the first one that comes up. So it's up to $35,000 with a $50,000 goal, but they are obviously displaced because of this fire, and anything that we can help to help them rebuild would be greatly appreciated. And then I think that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but that's what I got. Carlo.
I just want to, it was interesting. I was driving on the radio, listening to WBZ a lot. And just like FYI, the city of Salem is abandoning their parking kiosk program. 7 parking lots due to maintenance issues and reliability. So I just wanted to put that out there that we got ahead of the curve. And they were very unhappy with their vendor. So they're going to an app-only system, which I do not like at all for various reasons. But I just want to mention that for anyone listening, that the city of Salem has abandoned their parking, or will abandon their parking kiosks in 7 parking lots, which is a very big deal for the city of Salem.
But they're not getting rid of paid parking
No, it's going to only for the app. So only
for the,
an app.
okay.
That's right. Yep.
All righty. Moving on then.
Avery is on, so, yep.
Fantastic. And I think we have a quorum. Right, 5 people?
We call to order.
Yep, so I will call the Charter Review Committee to order. And I'll just take a roll call real quick. Jeff Struble. Here. I still remember your name. Jonathan Barnes. Ray Porter.
Here.
Alan Folds.
Here.
And Chris Haley here. Anyone online? Jackie by chance?
Yes, Jesse's online.
And
Yep, me too. I'm here.
Jesse Arnold is here as well. feel free to come up to the front, whatever you guys feel like doing. So it's more of just an information session. I was just gonna, I know we did the forum at the library and we kind of went over these changes back then. And I don't think we really had any significant changes, maybe other than Jonathan and Ray, since that forum we had at the library. So I know they updated the packet with that meeting. For anybody at home that wants to watch and see what all the other changes are. Ivrea also outlined in the packet on page, let me just go to that real quick, put together a fantastic cheat sheet, which starts on page 22 of what she feels is noteworthy of a change or not. Because kind of at the onset that we're kind of agreeing per se that we wanted to do one thing or the other. If there was substantial changes or not, we had to have a bunch to be able to do special acts and town votes and all these other special meeting things. And as you can see, we actually did come up with,
Oh, shit. Sorry about that.
with a very unique ringtone that does not fit your
It's my kid.
aura.
It's my kid. So I might go out for a minute. Good.
Okay. But yes, the big takeaway, like I said, page 22 and 23 in the packet kind of outlines at whether or not something was noteworthy or not for the changes. A majority were changing selectmen to select board, changing he, her to that. We had an argument. What did we decide on this? I think them, there. We went around that a couple times. So Ivrea, did you want to just say something? I was going to go over, I mean, I know I can kind of wing it through all the various changes real quick. And then, obviously Jonathan can kind of highlight his changes, Ray on his. And then for the most part, everything on here was unanimous. We voted on the things at the end, but if anyone wanted anything, like I know Jesse wanted some changes to the recall stuff and we hashed all that out. So that's kind of where we're at. So Ivrea, did you want to just say something?
Sure. Thank you. So what I've created here, I'm calling a translation guide. It essentially is a cheat sheet, as Chris outlined, to kind of help the public process the suggested revisions to the charter. I think the most complicated aspect of this is going to be that some of these changes are changes that we can do through a ballot vote, and some of these changes necessitate a special act. And so at town meeting, we do have 2 proposed warrant articles, and you can see that further down in the packet where you have your draft warrant. We've created those 2 warrant articles. So we will just need to explain to town meeting kind of the differences there and why we have 2 articles for essentially one holistic review of the warrant, of the charter.
Perfect. And the reasoning that we went with the expedited process is so we can latch on to like the April election, where if we, had done things differently, we would have to have a special election, correct, Ivrea?
Correct. So we didn't want to have, we wanted to hit the April town meeting. We could have had we wanted to hit the April town election so that we didn't need a special election. We could have had a special town meeting to meet that April election, but we felt that we were ready and able to present this in November and to avoid that additional town meeting.
Thank you, Ivrea. And in your legal opinion, do you feel as if, so the special acts have to get approved by the Attorney General separately? Is that correct?
So it's actually the opposite. So the way that it works for all of the changes that are going to appear on the ballot, so this is the longer warrant article that you see. Those are the ballot changes, those go first to town meeting, and then secondly, they go to the Attorney General, who has 30 days to review and either approve or disapprove. And then we get authorization to proceed to the ballot. The special legislation that gets approved by the legislature, they typically will ask the municipal law unit of the Attorney General's office what they think, but that is not a required step. It just tends to be how they operate. And I don't think, anything here is going to cause any concern from a legislator's perspective or the Attorney General's perspective. The town of Reading isn't creating anything novel in these changes, so I don't expect any road bumps, but you never know. I have shared a draft with the whole charter amendments with the Attorney General's municipal law unit. They haven't flagged anything as being problematic to me, and we've had 3 conversations at this point. So while I can't promise anything, I'm very hopeful that this won't be a complex process.
Thank you. And just for everyone's knowledge, everything was, the votes for all of this were unanimous other than Ray abstaining from the RMLD portion, but then agreeing to all the other changes that were in here. A very diverse group of individuals has hashed this out, and I think that we ended up with something that everyone can agree is going to improve upon in the town until the next charter a decade from now. So I guess in terms of going over this, does everyone want to take a section and kind of go over it? You can speak at the microphone, or do you want me to do it all? Or how does, Alan, do you want to start on one and then Jonathan, or just me?
I would rather stay out since I have to moderate this.
Okay. Perfect.
It's going over if you have any questions. So.
All right. So when I get to your part, Jonathan, which was what? Towards the end, right?
Yeah,
what section?
I think it was the last one.
812. All right. So then I'll let you kind of give a little color on that. And then Jesse and I can bounce off the whole recall scenario if needed. But like I said, for the most part, we're all good with this.
You're just going to go over the major changes, not the whole thing.
Yeah, like kind of the cliff notes, because we'll do it again at the next meeting because, we kind of agreed at the charter to hold, public input and all that. So I wanted multiple opportunities, at least for here. And I know staff and Ivrea said that we didn't have to do anything other than maybe one meeting. So that's why I wanted to, just to go over this. And it's good to see, a majority of the committee is here as well.
That's good.
So I'll briefly, so if you want to just kind of coincide with me, Jackie, I guess, so we'll start just really quick on, so Article 1 obviously is where we'll start. No big changes right there other than, selectmen to select board. Moving on. Once again, just some vernacular there, members. Just a clarification on majority vote, because we always have that, what constitutes a majority vote? Is it the amount of members that start the meeting or not? Because we kind of quasi ran into this 4 years ago when voting for executive session, when it was just me, Karen and Mark, I think, and I left, and it's a whole, so the majority was 2 people, not 5. So this is kind of clearing up any kind of gray area on that, where it means the term majority vote shall mean the affirmative vote of the majority of those present in voting, provided that a quorum of the body is present. So that's what that got changed to.
So 3 people has to be present for a group of 5.
That's correct here, right?
That's correct.
Like, you always need a quorum present. So if it was 5 members, you would need 3 members.
Gotcha. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Oh, I forgot Laura was here. You're hiding in the corner, but Laura was also instrumental at all this. She was at, I think, every single one of our meetings and took minutes and participated and provided feedback as well. So as an additional non-voting member, it was good to get another resident's perspective on things. So thank you, Laura. So moving on to Article 2, Representative Town Meeting. Still 192 members. That may or may not change in the future. It's not redlined here, but we might have to increase a precinct, but that's not till the next charter potentially, right, Laura?
2030 is a potential.
2030. All right. So that's just flagged for then. We hashed that out and decided we're not doing anything. So then selectmen to select board.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
It's gonna be 2026. If we have to add a precinct, how do we add it to the charter?
So the,
I don't want to
Precinct
have you go up, Laura. Or can we bring the microphone to you? Whatever, so you have your laptop. I just want people to hear.
sorry.
You can probably take the microphone if you need, or whatever.
So it's green. So the precincts, the districting is done every 10 years by the federal census, and the federal census overrides any charter. So if we do have to add a precinct, we would add the precinct, add the additional members, and then fix the charter when at the next review.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, thank you.
But that's a good point because we did discuss that as well in the beginning.
Could have said that, so.
Well, you know, it's good that Laura added some clarity. All right, so moving on to 2.56, so 2.6 vacancies at town meeting. So we changed it to from his seat to their seat, maybe declared vacant by a majority vote at the town meeting, comma, after providing the member an opportunity to be heard, which kind of dovetails into Jonathan's section in Article 8, like he had mentioned. But this is more just giving, you know, someone to be heard why, you know, they should be afforded the opportunity to be heard. Yes.
I guess, how many opportunities would they be given to be heard? Mr. Struble said 2, or you're gonna answer?
I think usually.
Can you go up there, please?
You just have to speak at the podium.
Just because of the audience, not because of me.
Usually in precinct meetings is when.
Yeah, turn the mic on.
That's great.
Thank you. The precinct meeting is when usually the town meeting member under review gets to say their part. But I think what this addition does, it says that they can speak if they don't make the town meeting. Frequently, they don't even make the precinct meeting. But if I think it means, you tell me, I wasn't actually there for this particular vote. I think it means that that person can also make their case to be retained in front of the general town meeting as well. So that's what I mean by 2. Once in the precinct meeting and once for a town meeting.
As I read this, it's kind of vague as far as providing the member an opportunity to be heard when?
So I think it's, sorry, this is Ivrea. I think it follows similar language that we see in employment law. So they have to be provided an opportunity before town meeting, because that's the body that is going to declare the seat vacant, and you only need to provide them one opportunity to be heard. So this is at the time, it has to happen prior to the declaration to declare the seat vacant. So, you know, at the floor of town meeting. This language is not strictly speaking necessary, I think, but it was important to the Charter Commission or the Charter Review Committee to clarify that individuals were going to have the opportunity to speak.
May I?
Yes, Laura.
So I just wanted to go over a little bit about what the current process is. Town meeting members are notified in writing. They're also told that they can talk to their precinct chair, and they can attend the precinct meeting, which is before the town meeting. So they have multiple chances to be heard. And the charter does state that the letter needs to be sent to them, so that is part of it.
Thanks.
Does that help?
Yeah. I know Ivrea is here, and maybe I'm being picky, but if they're not there, for that meeting, would it go to another town meeting? But it sounds like not, so, yeah, I'm good.
Correct, yeah, because we've given them an opportunity.
Right.
They have chosen not to act on that, but they were provided with an opportunity.
Good.
So I will tell you that in the past, they've been notified and they've contacted me and said they can't attend. So at that point, they reach out to their chair.
Okay.
And speak up.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff.
It's probably a good opportunity.
You'd have to.
This particular.
You could just take that seat right there.
No, I'm just saying, this might be a good opportunity, since this particular section, I think, is the first one where we have the notification that this is going to be requiring a special act. Maybe every year you can explain why this particular section requires a special act, and maybe that gives us some idea of what the other ones are for too.
Correct. So there's a couple ways to amend your charter. The first way is to go with what we call like the full-fledged charter amendment process. It requires electing through the ballot a charter commission. The town has not elected to do that process. When you go through that process, you can make any change to your charter that you want. There's really no limitation. If you go with this more limited review, which the town decided to follow, that process was the same process that we used back in 2014-15. You can't make any changes that would affect how town meeting members are elected or removed. And so while it's minor, the fact that we are clarifying that they have this opportunity to be heard could be read to affect the manner in which they are removed. And so in an abundance of caution, this section here should go through the special act process and be adopted through a special act of the legislature. So what you'll see in the warrant article is that Article 1 makes all of the changes that, the grammatical changes, the his to theirs, the he to they, the select board change as well. And then the second article seeks to adopt a special legislation replacing 2.6 of your current charter with this new text here. And combined, these will be, your charter will read as shown on the screen right here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And then real quick, so Jane, are we all squared away with RCTV? Like, it's working, because if it isn't, we can't continue.
So he has a clear signal in there to YouTube, but we're getting reports that it's still spinning. The executive director is working on his end to it. They're doing exactly the same thing they did last night, and everything went fine last night. So they're not sure why it's acting up right now. They're on RCTV just fine. It's just YouTube that seems to be affected. So they're broadcasting live from in there. It looks like it's fine. And he said that he will upload the video first thing tomorrow.
Well,
to YouTube.
I know, because we're lucky we have Avery in a moment, but I do know that if uploading videos after the fact does not count as being not committing an OML. So I guess the gray area of what I'm going to ask Avery is, if they're still being broadcast on television and YouTube is a secondary medium, are we still good to continue the meeting?
We're still good. We're still good to continue the meeting because the manner in which the public can participate as reflected on your agenda is in person at town hall or through the Zoom, which is all functioning. There's no requirement that it be broadcasted live on YouTube.
Okay, so for future notice, if we lost the Zoom, then we cannot continue the meeting.
That would be potentially problematic, yes.
And then we can't upload the meeting after the fact though either, correct? We just have to stop the meeting.
Correct. That's the process that should occur if you don't have the Zoom. There is some argument to be made that if you lose the Zoom, but you still allow people in person and you give the public sufficient time to get to town hall, that it would be defensible. But I think best practice would be to have a different meeting.
Perfect. All right, so as long as you think we're good, we will continue. All right, so to 2-7 precinct meetings, so then down to 2-9 presiding officer. We changed he to the moderator and then his to there. So scrolling down to the next page, finance committee. So this is 2.12.1. So this is the gray area that we ran into. Why is it allowed and ethical or whatever for the finance committee chair to vote on their own reappointment, which turns out the bylaw committee is doing the exact same thing on their reappointment. So this is why this language is going in there to alleviate any issues going forward with that. So now it is, so for the finance committee, it gets changed to provided, however, where the chair of the finance committee in their last year and is seeking reappointment, the appointment committee shall be comprised of the chair of the select board, the moderator, and a designee of the finance committee who's not in the last year of their term seeking reappointment. So in terms of semantics now, Joe Carnahan is chair. If he was up for reappointment in his final year, the finance committee would then vote to put somebody else there instead of him to do that. As long as they're not in their final year. And the same thing for the bylaw committee. And then is there anyone else? Is it just those two? Oh, we're going to get to it anyway. Permanent building committee. But that's not under this section. So it's currently just the finance committee and the bylaw committee that these are being changed to.
Correct.
Yep. All right, so then 2.13 warrant articles, once again, select board all over the place. Moving on to meetings, 2.14, same thing. 2.15.1 referendum petition. I believe this is Jesse, your section, correct? Or the changes, not your section, but like where we kind of went over this.
Sorry, I'm just double check. I'm like zooming in. I thought it was section 8, but I might be wrong on that. No, I guess maybe this, sorry. It's been a long time since we did this, so I'm like, is this mine?
I think it's multiple spots, right? I thought it was here and then somewhere else, or maybe we made lots of different changes.
I don't think this was my spot.
All right, so I guess then I'll go over it now. So this is a referendum. So we're adding in, within 3 days of receipt, the Board of Registrars shall certify whether the petition is signed by not fewer than 3% of the registered voters. Upon certification, the Board of Registrars shall immediately notify the Select Board and shall, within 10 days after receipt of the Board of Registrars certification, that the petition contains the requisite numbers of signatures. So I guess, Laura, did you have any color on this or clarity? This is getting added in. So how did we come up with the 3%? Was it? I don't think it was because it's redlined.
So it was 3%. I think it's more just like a clarification. If you can see up, it says like a referendum in the blue that's crossed out, signed by not fewer than 3% of the voters. So it's maintaining the same percentage. It's just clarifying the process.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I made that more confusing. So Jesse is correct. Her changes, et cetera, will be in the future. All right, so moving on to Article 3, elected officers. So once again, select board changed in there. And then 3.2, select board all over the place. While I get to this, so I had Laura and everyone reach out to multiple boards and committees to solicit feedback from them. So we're going to get to the school committee changes and Board of Library Trustees. All of those various boards and committees were reached out prior, I don't know, like a year at this point, to solicit feedback for them for any changes that they may or may not want to see in here. So all of these boards and committees have been reached out to multiple times in advance to this. So these changes you see here with select board getting changed, obviously we changed that for everyone. School committee, they wanted no changes, so there's no changes. That's why you see nothing. Same thing with other boards and committees, other than the cement, the his to there, and then select board as well. Municipal Light Board of Commissioners, 3.5. We had multiple meetings on 3.5 and other sections with RMLD and the charter. RMLD probably took up more time for the charter than the entire charter in general. That's my opinion. The end result is nothing. Essentially, that's what this comes out to. The RMLD kind of wanted some changes. Ivrea is steadfast that we are in compliance with chapter whatever and all the other things that the town of Reading has to be in compliance with. Our charter is fully compliant in her legal opinion. Correct, Ivrea? You've said it multiple times.
I think our charter provision is sufficient and does not legally need any changes.
Thank you. So that's kind of, Greg, obviously, former RMLD general manager, came in and provided feedback multiple times back in the day. Jeff Struble just joined towards the, no, you're not on RMLD. Ray Porter just joined towards the end, replacing Bill maybe. Or no, Phil, sorry. Phil, Bill, they've both been here forever. So Ray got in at the end and, like I said, there's another opportunity in the future for RMLD to make any changes. But when these, the RMLD pertinent sections is where Ray abstained from the vote. So 3.5 RMLD Board of Commissioners, that's what's here. Moderator, I'll speak for Alan. I thought moderator, why is it a year? We should extend it. Alan wants no part of that. Therefore, we are sticking with the 1 year. I'm not going to argue with Alan.
Mike, that's one thing I will comment on.
Oh, Alan can comment. He's coming up.
That's directly.
Yes.
I would have been fine if you changed it, but my feeling has always been the moderator is the only position in town where there's just one person. Everything else is a board. So I thought that's one position you should be able to change quickly if there's a problem. Everything else, one person may not affect the whole decision process. And it is more traditional around the state that way too.
And how long have you been moderator? 35?
6? 29 plus.
29? I gave you more credit.
A lot of balance there.
Thank you. All right, so Article 4, appointed board or committees, Board of Assessors, once again, select board, and we struck the item towards the end on that. Is that the deal?
So there was text here that is no longer relevant. It talks about when this section was first adopted, so we were just cleaning it up.
Perfect. All right, so Board of Cemetery Trustees, no changes other than the other typical ones. Board of Health, I'll just provide a little color and clarity on this. We kind of went over the whole Board of Health scenario where we had to have special act or the legislature had to do expanding the Board of Health. So we're in compliance now where we are on 4.4, is that correct?
Yeah, so as individuals may remember, we expanded the Board of Health from 3 members to 5 members, and we did that through a special act that town meeting authorized the select board to submit and was approved by the legislature. I think the discussion was whether we wanted to convert the Board of Health to an elected board instead of an appointed board, and there was lots of discussion about that, and the committee decided that they didn't want to make that change at this time.
Thank you, Ivrea. All right, so moving on to CPDC. No real changes there other than select board. Conservation, same thing. Council on Aging, same. Historical, we were kind of clarifying here. Jonathan, did you have something on this on historical?
Good evening. That one was fairly simple. It's based on the language in the charter, which is for the Historical Commission, and I was speaking on behalf of the Historical Commission, but it was equally true, I think, of the Town Forest Committee. That's the only two committees that don't have a specified number of members. It says, as it does there, the number of members appointed by the Board of Selectmen. So it seemed like it had always been, as far as I've known, and I asked the other commission members, it had always been 5. So it seemed like it was high time to change it, coupled with the fact that I had noticed that under 8.8.4 quorum, it talks about majority of the number of members of a board or committee specified in the charter. So whereas for the Historical Commission, the number wasn't specified in the charter, it seemed like it'd be a good idea to eliminate that ambiguity and just go with 5. I did consult with my colleagues on the Historical Commission, and they all supported changing it to 5. I didn't speak with the Town Forest Committee. I don't remember whether we did, but that was why we made the change to 5. I should point out, incidentally, that the state statute allows for the Historical Commission to have no fewer than 3 and no more than 7 members. But it had always been 5, and everybody was content with it being 5.
Thanks, Jonathan.
5 voting members.
Yes, we have 3 associates.
All right, so moving on, just some clarification under the Housing Authority section. Rec Committee, same thing, Select Board, Town Forest Committee, we use the same vernacular Jonathan just mentioned here. Zoning Board of Appeals, no changes other than Select Board. Charter Review Committee, same thing with us. We kind of went over, I think, very briefly, do we want to change anything? Everyone was happy with the current composition. And then other boards or committees, we left that the same because it cites it in the bylaw. So it's easier to change the bylaw than the charter. So that's why we didn't include, 18 other boards or committees in here, because then it's harder for us to change. So it's in the bylaw, those can get changed separately. So that's why they're absent. They're still vitally important, but it's easier to change things that way. And then associate membership, we struck that language. Town manager, we had a robust discussion on this, and we brought in someone from Hingham or somewhere else, former 2 town managers or something. I remember it was very early on, like 2 years ago at this point. But we did bring in somebody, they were on Zoom in that room, which shows my memory. I don't know who they were, but I do remember it happening.
Western Mass, I think.
Yes, that's why, not Hingham. Yes. Somewhere, I think I made the joke, I don't want to drive out there because it was so far away.
Right. Yeah.
Which is probably Hingham too. But so we kind of hashed out the town manager qualifications, and the general consensus of this whole section was making it a little bit easier on making it more towards experience as opposed to requiring certain degrees, and because we were limiting our applicant pool by doing this. And the individuals that we had at that meeting said the same thing, that we would make it more difficult on the town if we ended up having to go through a search again and do all that. It would be more difficult if we just kept this kind of language in there as opposed to making it a little bit more open. So that's why we put in there that they shall have, shall we hash that up significantly? They shall have at least 3 years of full-time experience as a city or town manager or assistant city or town manager. So that's going from 5 to 3. Or 5 years of the equivalent level of public experience or private sector experience. So we did have, it was probably about an hour-long discussion, and that's the general consensus, what we came around changing in here. So moving on, powers and duties. Yes, Karen.
Sure. Thank you. So having been through a couple of town manager appointments, I'm surprised this section in here is still in there about, so town managers all have a contract now, an employment contract like the RMLD general manager. And so the language that it says a town manager may receive termination pay is determined by the select board, we found to be problematic when Mr. LaLacheur retired, because it's too vague and because town managers have a contract. I was just wondering about the discussion you guys might have had. I thought this might come out of there.
So we did have a discussion on that as well. Ivrea, do you recall, is it because their contract is superseding everything, or what was the reasoning? Because I know specifically I brought up Karen's point that she just made, that I said I want to alleviate any gray area. Is that carried on further in the charter under something and we're just skipping ahead, or do you recall why we did what we did in this section, or anyone from the charter, I guess? Maybe I brought it up at that library meeting, but Karen's point was brought up significantly.
So I mean, the ambiguity is still here. And we're all sitting in the seats, and it's a challenge, and it has to be discussed in public. And meanwhile, we've already gone through a contract negotiation, and everything's in writing. So
Did you have something for this, Ivrea?
No, I don't recall attending that library meeting, so I'm not sure what the conversation was related to this provision. In terms of ambiguity, I think, I'm not sure I read this provision as being ambiguous. It just puts the power in the select board to make a decision, and then to the extent that the decision requires payment that needs to be funded, they would have to go to town meeting to get that authorization. It's not too late to make additional changes. So if the Charter Review Committee wants to revisit this paragraph, we can definitely do that. It's up to, I guess, both bodies, the Select Board and the Charter Review Committee, as to what they want to do relative to this paragraph.
I guess I would just, Laura, if you can make a note just to, obviously the minutes are probably online, but I know we did discuss this, and Ethan was at the meeting.
Oh, Ethan was, okay. I can talk to him.
So I know that this was specifically already hashed out, and it is whatever we have in here for a reason. So I'll update us at the next meeting. If you can just make sure the minutes exist for this section.
And Chris, I can send you a follow-up email, or we can connect offline on this as well.
Yeah, because we did go over it quite a bit at that meeting. Is there a recording, Laura? Maybe there's a recording. It was on Zoom.
No.
No.
It was not a recording.
Okay. It's a separate issue. All right. So Karen will follow up on that section, because I said the same thing, that I wanted no gray area.
And maybe that's something the select board could give some feedback if we want to take a few minutes and think about it.
Yep.
Great, thanks.
All right, so moving on to the next section was power and duties. Once again, select board all over the place, changing him to the town manager. I think those are the only changes in there, yes, related to that. Yep. All right, so moving on, 5.3, Ombudsman, Matt made the recommendation, I believe, right, to constituents.
Yeah, I think I wrote a memo on that, because I was the ombudsman for years. A lot of people were confused by the title. They didn't know what it meant. And also they thought it had a lot more investigatory powers. And so I thought, and I recommended to the committee, something like constituent services officer is more in line with what it is. It's basically dealing with the public, pointing them in the right direction, helping them with issues and problems, not so much investigating and reporting on those type of issues. So, and I can forward the board my memo on it. I wrote it a couple of years ago now, but yeah.
Perfect, yeah. I think that this falls in line with all the other changes that we were making.
Thank you.
Acting town manager, temporary absence. I think we went over this a little as well. I vaguely recall that, but we didn't make any changes in that section. Other than the bottom, under terms of employment to be determined by the select board in accordance with section 4.4, which is what I was actually referencing earlier, where I said maybe there's a follow-up for something else that we're doing. That's here with the employment contract. So that's what this is buttoning up under 5.4.4. Vacancy, same thing, just select board. Powers, same thing. Removal, same thing. All right, so then 5.5.3 removal, same thing, just changing select board. So then Article 6, administrative organization, once again, select board.
Chris, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Could we scroll up really briefly to 5.5.2? So when I was just going over this last week to refresh my memory on this, we had added that we have to send notice to the town manager at his last known legal address on file. And I had this in our notes that we had struck legal, but it was still showing up in the draft. I think legal is problematic because it makes, we might not know what the legal, it's unclear what legal address really means. So I'd rather just leave it as last known address on file with the town. If the committee's okay, I'd like to make that revision.
Do we have to do that in a formal meeting, or what should we do on something as simple as right now? Well, we're not. Yeah, but we're not, it wasn't.
Was it, I'm sorry.
It was posted.
Was it ever called to order this
Yeah.
morning?
Yeah. Andrea, what is your determination on
I
something
think
as
you guys
minimal?
could make a decision now whether to.
Well, we do have a follow-up meeting on the 16th as well, but I don't
That's
know.
fine too. You can make the decision at that time. I would just advise, I think legal address is a little bit ambiguous, and I don't want there to be debate about whether proper notice was provided to the town manager in this case. So I think last known address on file with the town is clearer and would remove any ambiguity.
So I guess just to alleviate a potential of no quorum at next meeting, who knows? But you say that we are okay to vote right now on something as minimal as this.
You posted notice, right? Or an agenda, right? Was posted?
Yes.
And sorry, what was the agenda item? Was it discuss charter?
Let's see. It is attend select board meeting for charter review discussion. That doesn't seem enough.
Yeah, I would do it at your next meeting, just to be in an abundance of caution.
That doesn't seem enough. All right, so hopefully maybe we can do something Zoom, whatever, we'll have something.
Something to do.
Yes. All right, so moving on, beyond that, and I know, Ivrea, you cannot speak on the town council portion, and you and Ethan abstained from all the section on the town council. That is correct?
Correct.
And Jesse is an attorney, as well as Matt was, and we kind of hashed out. Matt still is. Congratulations. You weren't demoted. But we kind of winged it, I would say, to a point. But between Jesse, Matt, and is there someone else? I think we're all good in this kind of. Jonathan, you're all.
That's right.
You didn't even tell me. Learn something new every day.
He's that smart.
He's that smart. He is a lawyer as well. This is fantastic. But we kind of hashed this out with the committee members, and there's no real substantial changes in here. Town accountant, same thing, just changing select board. And then town treasurer, same thing, bunch of changes there. Town collector, same thing. Town clerk, same thing. Article 7, budget and capital improvements. Same thing, just making it a little bit more obvious that it's the town manager for the budget. School committee budget, same thing, the town manager. Public hearing, nothing. Budget message, nothing. Proposed budget, just to the. And then all the way down to capital improvements, 7.7. Select board and good on that. Article 8, general provisions, charter changes, nothing. Severability, nothing. Seems as if we were getting tired towards the end and didn't actually change anything. 8.6 is just number, and we struck gender. 8.8, procedures of boards or committees. So we kind of went over the rules of minutes, how adding that the clarification about putting it on the town's website is one of the official mediums for notification. There's another spot with that too, right? We didn't just do it here. Isn't there two? I skipped over it. Okay. But yeah, just the town website is adding, it wasn't clarified before. I don't know why the internet didn't exist 10 years ago, but I'm sure there was a reason. Quorum of the meeting got changed from time to time, which I think this took us 10 minutes, to another time. That's what got changed under quorum. So just cleaning up the language. Elections. Briefly on the election scenario, I know David Zeke came in at the beginning and presented some stuff about like the recall, the recount procedures and and seeing if people would pay for them and a couple other items, but the committee ultimately did not end up taking up any of the recommendations on the election section. So 8.9.1, annual town elections, no changes, procedures, nothing. 9.3, select board once again. So then here we do get to the recall procedures. And I don't know if you want to say something, Jesse, on this. Like I said, Jesse proposed it. We kind of hashed it out, made it more equitable for you're changing the number. Therefore, we have to change the amount of time that people need because you're increasing the number. And this is what we all fell on at the end. So I don't know if you want to give any clarity, Jesse, but.
I would say you did a great job summarizing it. And, you know, I think it was just an attempt to make the bar for recalls a little higher, just because of both the time it demands from the clerk's office and the expenditures to the town as well. So we just wanted to make sure that these are reserved for instances of impropriety or situations that were just, you know, really significant. And so that it gives more notice to the person being recalled and just kind of cleans things up and makes it a little more efficient.
Yeah, and that is why, so the change of 2% of registered voters, and there's how many now, Laura? 21,000-ish?
Registered voters?
Yeah.
Yes, about 21,000.
So 21,000, 2% of that is 4,000. Yeah. So we're changing 250 to 4,000. So therefore, as you scroll down beyond that, that is where we change it from 21 days to 30 days, because obviously we're making it significantly more of a vote, going from 250 to 4,000, and the amount of voters is only going to increase in theory. So that number is always going to go up. So we changed it to 30 days. And then also the amount of people that would have to sign it went from 10% to 20% of the voters, and then just changed the total number of signatures from a specific precinct to 20%, right? That's how that reads, 2-0, not 5. Is that how we read that every?
Yeah, that was a decrease from 25% to 20%.
Yes. Yep. Because there's a larger pool.
Chris?
Yes, Jonathan. Just come up real quick.
I'm sorry, but I said I was a lawyer, not a mathematician.
Yes.
You said 4,000. That's not correct, right?
Is it 400?
420, 2%
Yeah,
is
okay.
400.
Okay. I trusted Carlo. This will be the last time that I trust Carlo to be my mathematician.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
20% was I was thinking.
Okay.
2%.
Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. Normally we need Jeff Corum for that kind of stuff, so I'm happy you filled in. So I know this is more of a, I don't want to say a substantial change, but it is one of the bigger ones. So does anyone need any more?
So just to
Feedback,
clarify, because this is a two-step process, so the first step was the 400 and the second step is the higher threshold, that's the
Yes.
20%.
Yep.
Okay, it's just hard to read, thanks.
Yes. Anyone else on this section? Because I know it was fairly substantial. All right, so we'll move on to recall election. No major changes there other than just the language. Nomination of candidates themselves, which is added to that. And then, all right, so then we get to the Jonathan section 8.12.1 removal process. So if you want to just give some color on this, Jonathan.
Sure. I should also clarify on the subject of being an attorney. I am an attorney, however, I am a retired attorney, but my status is with the Board of Bar Overseers. I'm still paying the Board of Bar Overseers so that I can jump back in if I need to. Okay, with respect to Article 8.12, this section is the section that is intended to address and does address and did address the removal of a board member, board commission, or committee member. And importantly, it provides for the due process for that person who is being removed. And it became evident that given the way that, at least to me, and I guess for the commission, that given the way that it had currently referenced the authority that could effectuate the removal and thereby call into play the due process rights of a hearing and notice, et cetera, was very limited. The instance that we became aware of last summer was there was a member of one of the committees, the Killam School Board Committee, whose members are the appointing authority. The legal appointing authority is the Permanent Appointment Committee, and that in that instance, that when the Select Board representative or member was appointed, the Permanent Building Committee delegated effectively. There's been some discussion about the degree of that, but the Permanent Appointment Committee delegated the authority to the Select Board to make the designation. The designation was made, and then it was subsequently changed, I believe, a year later by the Select Board. And that particular committee member was not afforded any of the rights in this section because it was determined that the way in which the charter was written, the appointing authority remained as the permanent appointing authority, the permanent appointing authority, and that that authority had delegated the decision to the Select Board. So this didn't come into play, and as a result, that particular person wasn't afforded any of these rights. So this change is intended to allow for that right to exist. So effectively, appointing authority is defined specifically here, different than elsewhere, to include not only the actual appointing authority, but as it says, whoever exercises such appointment or removal power pursuant to law or otherwise obtained through delegation. So it would cover what we anticipate would be any other instances, given the fact that the purpose for this was to afford anybody who is serving as a board or committee member these rights, regardless of who actually imposes the removal. That's really the primary decision, the primary change that was made here. There are some other language, but it just provides for giving the notice in writing. That's really it.
Very well summarized. But yes, we did go over that, obviously. We were okay with putting in all of these procedures here. But so just for color or as an example, me being on the Killam School Building Committee, I can be replaced by the Select Board at any time on that committee. Whereas because that's the way that it was voted on by the Permanent Building Committee to designate the select board to make the appointment. Whereas Mark is no longer here, but he is still serving on recal because the select board specifically outlined Mark Doxer to be on it. Therefore, Mark is on there for as long as that committee exists. So that's the kind of, I don't want to say legalese, but that's just the way that this thing fell into. So that's why Mark is still on there. So that's kind of obviously, you know, Jonathan wanted to have this in here. You know, the committee didn't see anything wrong with obviously more notice to anybody. So that's kind of why we went ahead with it. And then there's a copy of the notice that obviously Laura would do, and we changed it to, you know, forthwith, so the language is in there. So they have the notification, and it does say in here the last known address, and it doesn't say last known legal address. So Avery is kind of right. We're not being consistent with that prior item. So any questions on 8.12.1? Carlo?
I guess this could go for any application, but for this one where it's, you know, there's a reason for someone wanting someone to be removed. Was there any discussion about if that individual commits a crime?
I don't think that got brought up at all for anything, because that could be the same thing for a recall or a recount, that we could be like, oh, if you're a convicted felon, then you don't get to do X, Y, Z. I don't even know if we could make that legal, Ivrea, but we never even discussed it. But I could kind of see where you're at, like, so. But
yeah, there's no exemption here. So if someone commits a crime and you believe that committing that crime justifies removal, you would have to go through this process. Note this removal process only applies to like boards and committees. It doesn't apply to employees of the town of Reading. So there's a whole statutory scheme that deals with employees that have committed crimes and whether or not they can retain their position.
I guess if I rephrased it, not committed a crime, convicted of a crime. Like if someone commits a crime, then, you know, goes to trial and it's an ongoing long process. But when that individual finally gets convicted, we're still obligated to go through this process?
yes, under this, the catch is with this is the easy thing. This is sending some letter in the mail, certified, whatever, Laura handles whatever. It's if I committed a crime, got convicted, and I wanted to be in jail and still be on the select board, you would have to recall me or I have to resign. That is it. That's like that pretty much in any city or town, like Boston went through
you wouldn't be a
some
resident anymore, so you're good.
Well,
He's
it's
right.
true. Is he?
Yeah, you wouldn't be a
sure?
resident. Yeah, it's an easy one.
Do we have to test this?
No, you can test it.
Yes, so we go
Yeah.
for it.
If you're not a resident, you cannot be on a board or committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Number
living
one.
within the town. So if you're in a jail that's not within the town of Reading, you cannot be on a board or committee.
So a hypothetical, I move to New Hampshire tomorrow. What is the process?
You've automatically resigned.
Is that true, Ivrea?
So your charter requires residency. I think we'd have to kind of think about whether it's automatic or whether an action needs to be taken. It's not something I've ever looked at, so I'm not ready to opine right now. But yes, residency is a requirement under Reading's charter.
I believe we have two hypotheticals. Go ahead,
I just
Jonathan.
want to point out, the same conundrum would apply to, for example, this language sort of tracks the same language that exists for the town manager. So the same situation would be applicable to that. And again, this is only affording notice and an opportunity to be heard about it. It doesn't change the ultimate outcome.
Well, it could.
So just for information, the term automatic was probably not a correct term. But in the past, before Ivrea's time, we had a member move out of the state and tried to remain on the board. And he was told that he was no longer on the board by our current town council at that time.
Yeah, and that makes sense, Laura. I mean, I think that's where we would ultimately end up, whether or not like an official action of someone in town needs to be taken, I think we'd need to analyze, but I don't see how a select board member could reside outside the jurisdiction of Reading.
And that was an elected member, Laura? Yeah?
Who was appointed?
Oh, appointed, okay. Karen?
And so clarification, Mark serving in his role as a member of the Permanent Building Committee, just, you said he's on there for the life of the committee, but I'm pretty sure that if
It's recal.
didn't the recal committee go away?
I don't believe so.
Well, it's permanent building committee, but two special appointees.
Recal sunset, yes,
So my
recal
only
sunset.
point was
Oh,
that
okay,
I think the select board could reappoint someone else if we didn't like.
I don't think so.
I would like to clarify that, because that doesn't make any sense. I don't think there's any other committee where you appoint somebody and you can't swap them out. That's what we just talked about, with another committee. When we have a
So who
designee,
made, because we made the appointment.
I frankly don't remember. I'm a little confused, and especially with recal existing at the same time in the permanent committee, I'm a little confused. I know.
No, we made the
Select
appointment,
board
correct? We
designate.
appointed Mark.
He's our designee.
Right.
So if we want another designee, we could do that. Like,
I don't
I don't think
I
that
don't
committee has
think so.
special powers that we couldn't.
know.
I don't want to be clear about that.
Maybe Jeff has the answer.
Can you come up, please? Can you come up,
You wanna-
please?
She's talking.
She's town clerk.
Yeah,
She's town
very,
clerk.
she's very loud.
I had a good bit of input in rewriting the permanent building committee bylaw, and I think it's what you, Michelle, has put on the building committee in addition to the permanent building committee members. That is an appointment by recalculus we're talking about. And there's nothing in bylaw language that says that is a permanent position.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to be clear about.
Yeah, you can, whoever, you're the authority, making, building the building. You can put anybody on there you want to and take them off anywhere you want.
I think that's like consistent with everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, but the only ones you can't touch are the members of the permanent building committee. The permanent
have an
members who are on there, yeah, you can't touch them.
And because the
they always have to outvote you.
COA has a special appointee as well.
Sorry?
The COA has an appointee on the permanent building committee as well.
Okay.
So
I mean,
select
I'm
board
just saying
has
that
one and COA has one.
the members who apply and are their title is member of the permanent building committee. They can only be removed by the appointing authority of the permanent building committee, which is permanent chair, the moderator, and I think it's, I can't remember, long ago, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the members of the permanent building committee are sacred. They're intended to be. That was having been on the Reading School Building Committee, if you remember that. And I taught, when I did that, we wrote that bylaw, I did a lot of research in all the towns around. The idea was to put members on there who were dedicated professionals who were not influenced by whatever committee they're on. And that's the reason that you notice they can, in language of the bylaw, they always have to outvote anybody you put on there. I think it's maximum 9, and they have to at least be 5. And that's the reason that they cannot be outvoted by the people, by the people appointed by the authorizing. I can't remember the terminology. The entity creating the building. So essentially, the school committee cannot outvote the permanent building committee on the Killen School, for example.
Okay.
That's the way it was designed. It was designed that way so that political influence could not overshadow practical concerns.
So it's kind of, I don't know, is Mark's a select board designee, but like obviously the recal project is gonna get wrapped up and finished, and then and we don't have to answer that now. So I didn't know if that was a specific position created for a project that was being done. Same with the COA, because they weren't originally part of the, okay, so like when those projects are completed, they disappear.
You call it a building committee, but it's actually, it's like a newly formed committee based on whatever the building is.
Okay,
And
so
people
it'll
who want
change over time. Okay, to make sure you have the right representation. Thank you.
All right, so that is 8.12.1, and then going into the public hearing. We increased it from 5 days to 10 days. And once again, their last known address, not last known legal, so it's kind of consistent. Just cleaned up the removal section, close of the public hearing on that. Resignation, their office, changing that. Town seal, we had this get brought up as well. And the way that the committee and I know Ivrea can comment as well, that stuff can get changed after the fact regardless, just like the Board of Health position got changed. So if the town seal was to change in the next 2-3 years, there's no barrier beyond just getting some help from the legislature on that.
Correct. The easier process is probably just to seek special legislation to repeal 8.14 of your charter. You could also do it through a ballot vote, but if you are adopting a new town seal, it's probably easiest to just seek a special act.
But we did go over this also. I don't want to say extensively, but we did discuss it as well, and chose to keep it the same. And surprisingly, that is the end. So does anyone have any follow-up questions, concerns? We're going to see what we can do for the next meeting on that one language and then follow up on Karen's question about the town manager funding. Anything else?
Where's the part where we get paid? You forgot that part.
I would love for that to be in there as well. I think, didn't I jokingly bring this up too, that we get paid and then we'd exempt ourselves, but we chose not to put it. So.
That's not too late.
Well, do we have a second? Seconded by Carlo, yeah. No, I know we did kind of jokingly go over the whole pay thing, and I think I brought up Cambridge, pays 60 grand in healthcare and everything else that we'd all love, but daycare, not healthcare. But no, we chose to keep it the way that it is.
Well, the reason I bring it up is when we went over this stuff with was it the retirement board or from the health on the health plans?
Yeah, with the PEC agreement.
Yeah, so we're considered employees and we get no benefits from being designated employee. Comes with all the BS of being an employee.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We have to deal with BS?
So I'm being half serious.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying like $10,000 and you're running for a specific reason, but cities get well compensated, school and town councils, for being on their committees. And they meet every 2 weeks just like us. Yes, they may be bigger, but because of all these conflicts of interest, we're considered an employee, we can't do this, we can't do that. I can't teach pickleball in Reading, which is BS, right? Because I'm an employee, and other things that other members can and cannot do, past and present. Like, I think it'd be nice to have a small amount that is reasonable, that you're not based on for political reasons. I'm running to get paid, right? But and that you can say, oh well, Carlo, if you're going to get compensated, then conservation can get compensated. Finance committee, they meet a lot. CPDC, they go till midnight. They should be compensated. Yeah, but we have to run an election. There's a lot more to it for the school committee. I almost said selectmen in the spirit of selectmen, and other people have to run for office. So I'm half serious, but I'm half kidding as well. But if this is our time to do it, it's 10 years from now that we can't talk about this again. So I've brought this up in this manner before, but now we're towards the end. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to some money, just because just the cover stuff, that's all.
Karen, you were good with that?
I have talked to a lot of folks from other communities in my work at the Mass Municipal Association. Framingham has counselors who are responsible for one area of the city, and they get $7,000. And it's a stipend, and it does pay for the driving around and the things you have to do. So, no, I'm not opposed to it. Not every town has it, and so, yeah, it's community by community, but it is pretty common, and we could be a city. We choose to keep our town form of government. We have 28,000 residents now. We could be a small city. So it's not even about that, but I won't use Carlo's phrase, but, and unlike, ward councilors, which are just responsible or getting a stipend, if you will, for just one neighborhood, we're responsible for the entire community. So it's not easy. I would agree with Carlo.
Melissa, Karen?
We're talking override. How could we possibly be talking about this? That's all I have to say.
I agree with Karen on that. Rose Gillis, I mean, it would be hard. I mean, I don't disagree. It would be great to get a stipend, but I just don't know that this is the right time to have that conversation, considering the state of the town, and we're asking everyone to cut budgets. I don't think that I can ask for a stipend or salary at this point.
So I think I'm the deciding, not real vote, but sort of kind of. I think that, yeah, it's not a good look now. Obviously, I think by the time that this is in, maybe we're not here anymore. Who knows? But I don't think it's a good look now. I don't think that something like 2,500, or I made the joke that when I was running, I saw the select board had a budget or whatever, and that's what I thought I was getting paid. Come to find out, I don't get anything. So like, it would have been nice. But yeah, I don't think that now is the right time, unfortunately. I do think that it's warranted, obviously, the amount of time, effort, and energy that we all put in. You know what I mean? Karen Rose Gillis is competing with me and Alan now for doing the most stuff in the whole town. Like, came out of nowhere. It's a compliment. But like all of us, Karen's going to all these random meetings that none of us are doing. So, you get credit for doing that kind of stuff. It might not mean much coming from me, but I at least see that you're doing this kind of stuff. And, we all contribute significantly more. And, I don't think it's the right time, but I absolutely agree it would be warranted. I would go probably 2,500 if I had to, kind of thing, but I don't think this is something that we kind of Matt.
I don't think it has to be in the charter, though. Couldn't we do it at any time? I mean, if times get better in a couple of years, it could be just added in. I could always just.
I guess how do you feel that would end up going?
Interesting. I mean, I've only seen it done through charter. I'd have to explore whether it could be done through a different procedure. Definitely something we could look into. But again, you don't have one opportunity every 10 years to amend your charter. You can do it at any time. So if, the time warrants and you do want to revisit this question and it does require a charter amendment, it's not like it's off the table because you're outside, the standard review periods.
Yeah, but then the spotlight is just on that one item. So I don't
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
But even if there is an alternative process, the spotlight would be on that one action item anyways. So
I'm running for re-election to get $5,000. Please vote for me. Like, that doesn't really, I don't know, but people would actually vote for me though, so who knows? But to Carlos' point, yeah, like, nobody's going to do that. That's I don't want to say career suicide, even though it's not a career, but like, no, it's not a good look. I don't know. We all acknowledge that. I think that we should be getting compensated. Same thing. It's, school committee. No, other than Karen.
Because you've only been doing this.
Yeah, I know. You've been doing it for a minute.
I mean, the conversation is what would you use the money for?
There's a lot of things.
That's, I don't want to say legitimate, but, we're volunteers. And so it's kind of like the argument of, the town forest committee works their asses off. They should be paid for 4 hours of labor that they do. You know what I mean? So I think,
I did want to compensate them with gift cards or something. I think I was ridiculed for actually making that kind of thing, but I acknowledge that other boards and committees, especially CPDC, they went to like 12:30, and we're not doing that
Well, they don't
tonight.
get appointed too, they don't have to run for office.
Yeah.
Correct.
But it is very common.
I'm sure it is.
I just have to work right there, and I'm not.
Yeah. So I think we belabored that to death more than the entire charter. So any other closing comments from the public? Anyone online? Jackie?
Yes, Angela has her hand raised.
Angela, do you want to get paid? Go ahead.
Do I want to get paid?
Yes, we're taking an informal vote.
Yeah, no, I'm not being paid, but thank you. I did have a couple of questions. And I did come in the middle of the discussions, but there was something about 3 days that the Board of Registrars had to certify something. And I was just wondering, is there any contingency if that's a holiday or if the Board of Registrars, I don't, if there's some, I forget what it was, because I did come in late because I was over at the library, but there was something added that the Board of Registrars had 3 days to certify.
It was. So you are correct, but I believe during our meetings, we actually went over this, and it's like 3 legal business town hall days or something, right?
Correct. The definition of days in the charter for anything under, I think it's 7, sorry, I don't have the provision pulled up right away, is counted by days in which town hall is open. Anything over 7 is calendar days. But let me pull up the actual provision just so I'm not misquoting.
And if there were one registrar who's on vacation or something, there would be a wait to have somebody else fill in for that?
I'll let Laura answer that question, but these are pretty significant issues, and we'd want to make sure that we can staff it appropriately.
Okay.
So when it comes to certifying the signatures of the Board of Registrars, my office actually does the certifications, and the Board of Registrars sign off on it, and using their stamp. As each member of the Board of Registrars are appointed, they take a vote to allow us to do the job. So as far as, and that vote is taken anytime there's someone new appointed. So as far as the members, if there's one on vacation, it doesn't matter.
Okay, thank you. And one other question, 8.12.1, the removal of members. Are ex officio members removed automatically if they resign a position, or could there be an instance where an ex officio, somebody who's appointed ex officio would actually have to also be removed?
No, they would be automatically resigning from that position. There wouldn't need to be another action taken. So, for example, if there's a select board member is serving ex officio on the trust fund commission, and then that select board member resigns, they automatically resign from both positions.
Okay. Okay, and that, and I don't know if anybody is aware regarding the pay of a scandal in Stoneham years ago about I think it was, I don't know who it was. I think it might have been I don't know if it was a select board member who had a small stipend. It might have been the town moderator years ago, and ended up getting health insurance for life after having figured out how to work the system. So I'm not in favor of payment for volunteers, because I think that takes away what a volunteer is. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Laura, yeah?
I just wanted to clarify something that Avery has said, and we have to look into this, but you mentioned that the 3 business days was the town hall hours. I believe Friday is included in that, even though we're not open on Fridays. I believe that we have to count Friday as a business day when it comes to elections.
I can look into that, Laura, but I know you have to count that under the elections law, but this is a charter provision. So I think that our charter provision would govern.
I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I don't think the normal election rules would govern how we count the days.
Okay.
Anyone else? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right, there'll be another opportunity next week. We have a meeting for the select board on the 16th. The charter committee will post for that as well. We'll check offline if we have to do something for that striking out that April had mentioned, and then we'll get clarification on Karen's question. So I'll make a motion to adjourn the Charter Review Committee. Seconded by Jonathan. Roll call vote because Jesse is online. Jesse?
Yes.
Jonathan? Yes. Ray?
Yes.
Jeff? Yep. Alan? Yes. And Chris is yes. So we are adjourned. Thank you all once again. Like I said, you put a lot of time, effort, and energy into this, as well as, Jeff Beckwith, who is in here. And then obviously Bill Brown in the beginning, Phil. Am I missing somebody else? One person. Library person, right? Andrew? Yep. He was there at the beginning. Oh, and Chuck. Yep. Phil, yeah, I mentioned Phil. Yeah, no, they put a lot of time, effort, and energy in, so I really appreciate that. All right, so we will move on to the next item, which is preview subsequent town meeting warrant. Are you still there by chance?
I am, yeah.
So it is typically, I meant to ask you this in advance, but I believe that I'm going to be correct in this, is that if a majority of the select board is conflicted out of an item, that means that the conflicted majority can still then vote, correct? Because I'm bringing up this for a point because of the snow shoveling bylaw that is under the town meeting warrant that is in the smart growth district.
It's a little bit more complex. I mean, generally that is the rule. It's called the rule of necessity. So if you can't have if there isn't a quorum of a body that can act because they are conflicted, then those individuals can participate, but it has to be a specific ethics issue that's not waivable or somehow can be waived through disclosure. So I would need to know a little bit more. Are there 3 members of the select board that reside within the district impacted by the snow removal bylaw?
I would say yes. And this is once again me.
Reside 2 of us, yes. But is that the right word, reside?
Because then my business is also there.
Okay. But I don't know if you would be obligated to shovel, right? I think we'd have to kind of analyze like the impact under the bylaw for each of the select board members. And then you need a written determination from council. So what I would advise is that we consult offline and I can meet with each individual that is potentially impacted and I can give an official opinion.
So how should we handle the preview of the warrant? Just have Matt skip that, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I would just skip that article. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so that's right.
Fair enough.
All right, so Matt, if you want to go over the warrant.
Okay. All right, I'll go through it. So it's up on the screen. I think Sharon is also on the call as well, because a lot of these are financial articles that we deal with every town meeting. Article 1 is reports. The only report I'm aware of right now is I think the Community Preservation Act Study Committee would like to give a report to town meeting. If any other committees or anybody else wants to give a report, please let us know, but that's the only one I'm aware of. The second one is instructions. That's instructional motions and whatnot. We always defer to the final night on that one. The third one, we get into the financial articles. This is amend the capital improvement program. There will be some amendments to that. Sharon and I met with all of the department heads recently within the last week to see if there was any changes to the capital improvement program. Usually it's like moving out a truck a couple years, things like that. Sharon has quite the schedule that she keeps track of all this on, and so we will have some changes on town meeting on this. Also, Article 4, amend the budget. There are a couple of small things that we'll have to change in the budget as we do every year. Sharon will have those outlined, and those will be in the background and plenty of time for town meeting to digest. This other one, Article 5, transfer of funds from closeout capital projects. You can see there is a little more detail in the article itself. So these are projects that we had already borrowed for and we had funding for that have come to an end, and there's some leftover money. And so we need to go to town meeting and ask for that money to be transferred into other projects. So the two main projects that we're going to be borrowing for are Killam and Senior Center. So we tried to divide those equally among the two projects. Totally, it's a little under $200,000. It's not a lot of money, but we do need to clean that up a little bit out of those accounts and reallocate those. Town meeting will have the final say as to where they go, but this is something that Sharon had mostly put together based on being fair to both projects in the need. So that was Article 5.
Can I ask a,
Yep.
Can I ask a question on this
Yeah.
chart? So I guess I don't understand, like, the library renovations from 2013. How do we have $93,000 that has been sitting there and we didn't use it for other projects that have come up since, like the Parker roof or turf improvements or the floor at the high school? How do we know why we didn't?
I don't know, Sharon, do you have the answer to that question?
Yes, the library renovation qualifies for a 30-year borrowing and can only be transferred to another project with an equal borrowing term. And so those types of projects would not qualify. So we were kind of waiting to transfer the excess to the next building project. So that's why we're doing it now for Killam and Recal.
Hope we've been getting interest on that money somewhere.
We always have interest on all of our funding that we have out there. So if we've been holding it, it's been in our cash accounts or in CDs, it's definitely getting interest.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, if there's no questions on that one, Article 6 is approved prior year bills. As of right now, I don't think we have any, and if we don't have any before town meeting, we'll table it, but we always keep it open just in case a bill pops up and we have to actually pay it. So Article 7, this was a request from Will Valier, who's our Veteran Services Officer, who works under Jane's department. It's basically adopting a federal law. It's a local option, and federal state law. And what it allows people to do is, if it's totally voluntary, no additional tax unless they want to make a donation. But there'll be on an excise tax bill or on a property tax bill, there'll be a separate sheet or a box where you can check to make a donation, and that donation would come and exclusively be set aside for veterans. It's called the Municipal Veterans Assistance Fund. So that money would pile up, and Will would actually administer the fund. There'd be guidelines on how to apply for the fund. And it would only be available, it's available for all veterans, but there's certain needs requirements. So the way he explained it to me is that if somebody's having trouble 1 month paying their mortgage or their rent, or, even if they get the regular veterans benefits, and some even don't even get that, it's a little something extra that he could say, okay, I have some money on this fund to help you out, sort of on a one-time basis, get you through. And according to Will, there's a lot of veterans, young and old, that find themselves in this situation. So he'll be there at town meeting to explain it further. I think if it helps needy veterans, I thought it was something that town meeting should hear about and decide on. So that's that article.
So it's completely optional, like you mentioned, and the fund does not exist already. So if this got approved, Sharon would have to create some fund.
Yeah, and it could all be done within, I thought originally there was gonna have to be 2 separate articles, this and one to create the fund. I guess it's, Avery looked into this, I believe, and I guess it's all, if you adopt this, the statute, it's all inclusive, so the fund will be created. And it doesn't exist right now. Other towns do it, and I think Will has some examples that he'll talk about at town
Did
meeting.
he mention what the figure looks like? Is it $5, $1,000? Like,
I think
it's
it's whatever they want, just an extra check off. I give an extra $100, to the Veterans Assistance Fund.
Okay.
So totally voluntary.
Perfect.
Okay. So then we could move to Article 8. That would be the first article for the charter. We just went through a lot of that. This article would be the one for the town election. Article 9 would be for a special act. You have to break it up that way. I think Iria touched on this. There's actually 2 separate articles, but they both deal with the charter. And Article 10, I believe we have somebody from Town Forest. Somebody from Town Forest? Yeah, Town Forest here tonight, right. So this is a request from Town Forest, and it's for an extra $50,000 in the budget this year to pay for invasive control. After we took care of a lot of the trees there, a lot of invasive plants come to the Town Forest, and this money, according to the Town Forest Committee, is needed for that. It would have to come from free cash. I didn't see any other funding source that identified, so it would have to be transferred from free cash. But again, it's a request from a committee, and it has to go on the town meeting warrant, but town meeting can do what they want with it.
Jeff, did you want to speak any further on this? Are you good? Matt summarized it well for you? Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Then we won't talk about the final article tonight.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
When are we closing the warrant?
Next week.
So Avery, we have to call you.
Yes, everyone who is potentially impacted, just send me an email and we can set up a time to talk.
And what is Laura? Yeah, Laura's still here. I got also an email from Laura, who was, I guess was the climate committee, reached out and may have a potential article, but I haven't seen anything yet, and it's getting fairly late. So I'll find out if there's anything more coming, if they voted on anything, but I don't even know what it is at this point. So
I responded to him today, so.
Oh, okay. You did. Okay. That's the only other addition that I'm aware of.
Jesse, you had a question?
Oh, you saw my hand. I just want to point out, if we're moving the snow removal bylaw discussion to next week, that we are also running a forum at the same time. So, yeah, I can come after, but I don't know if it would be later in the agenda or what.
All right, we can work offline to come up with a resolution.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
And the forums were, again, we were all trying to accommodate the Jewish holidays, and so once you moved your meeting, they moved their forum. That it's tight in September, so that's why we try not to have things on the same night as select board meetings, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
Okie dokie.
So that's the way it's looking.
Anyone else from the public on articles? Taylor? Name and address.
Taylor Gregory, Pleasant Street. I just wanted to bring up, you have on your agenda for next meeting the Commission on Disability. So in order for that to be adopted, it really just needs to be sponsored by either the select board or the town manager and brought to town meeting, and then town meeting votes on it. And then a separate fund is set up basically for it to get going. So if you want to, I would suggest that if trying to get onto the article for this November, you should probably discuss it before you close the warrant at the next meeting. Thanks.
Yeah, I know that Albert is going to come to next meeting. It sort of got delayed a few times. I was thinking of it more of an April item. Certainly, it could go on potentially for November, but he's not scheduled to come until next week. And I haven't seen a draft of an article yet, unless he has one. He just has a PowerPoint, so I'll follow up with him now.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't have to go before the bylaw committee, I believe the climate advisory was working on a tree policy, but that's going to need to go by the bylaw committee. So.
Oh, is that what they're working on?
I think so.
Okay.
But so that would really push it out to April,
Okay.
but if this doesn't have to.
Okay, I'll find out, I'll have to see what it looks like first. I don't know what it will look like. It's, okay, I don't want to guess, so.
Right.
I'll talk to Albert about that.
Anyone else online? Jackie?
Yes, Angela has her hand raised.
Angela, go ahead. 2 minutes, name
Thank
and
you.
address. I forgot the address last time.
Thank you, Angela Benda. Question, why would money have to come out of free cash for the town forest project? Could we not use Burbank money for it? $50,000 out of the Burbank money for that?
Sharon or Matt or?
I think free cash is the most likely suspect here. I don't know about Burbank, but I mean, usually if you're going to ask for an addition like that for that amount comes from free cash. Unless there's a grant or something I'm not aware of. But do you know if there's any other funding source?
Separately pursue grants for sure.
I would say it would have to be free cash, and we are looking into the Ice Arena revolving fund in terms of, it had been labeled as a donation account, and now we're looking at it differently and looking at how it was created and trying to determine if it's really properly classified as a donation account. And so I wouldn't want to touch that funding any further until we figure that out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Last year it was town meeting appropriated 3 times this amount. I don't know where that came from, if that's helpful.
I think that was ARPA money.
They have some ARPA money before to handle this. I'd have to research it, but
they matched it.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's important.
So you think we can figure this out for the next meeting, maybe? Is that the
Figure what out?
this funding source, or however Sharon was classifying it, or is that just cutting it too close?
I think we have to go on free cash right now because I know that Ivory has done some research into it. Sharon's working on it. I don't know that we'll have a definitive answer by next week. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone else online, Jackie?
No.
All righty. So that is the preview of the warrant. We'll vote next Tuesday for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. We already did liaison reports. We already did minutes. So future agendas, page 94.
And I think Jackie if you can call that up to the screen. And I think that we've been updating it because we have a meeting coming up next week too. So this is probably the most updated version. And we'll add it into the packet. We're working on it even today. So.
Exciting about the golf place.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, it's down a general way.
Okay, can you go back? Hang on.
Fees?
Yeah.
Can we put them in paper moves instead?
The golf?
Yeah.
No, they're going to general way, according to George Danis.
Do you just want to scroll right back up, Jackie, to the beginning? Are you good, Karen, with that?
Yeah, I was gonna say that we don't have to do community spotlight like every single meeting because I'm looking at 15 minutes for the RCTV license agreement, and that's clearly not enough.
It's not gonna be
That's not the.
it's not a contract. We're not bringing the contract to the meeting. It's just gonna ask for a potential vote extension of time.
Yes, okay, that makes sense.
What are valet parking fees?
The valet thing is, I brought it up last meeting, but about outside of post, collecting the funding for that.
Okay.
Okay, you can keep going if you guys are all good.
So you want to scroll down a little bit more, Jackie, to after both public hearings?
Okay, we have to vote on tax rates soon, and we have not had a preview, and we've already requested that in previous meetings.
Yeah, so I have that as she scrolls down. I think I have it slated for the date Victor gave me was the November 4th meeting, I believe. I mean, he feels like he says
like one and done.
every year that we can do it in one night. But it's up to you. But it's a pro forma thing that that he does every year. So if you wanted 2 nights, it would have to be before, I guess what he said was November would be, if you did it any time after that, you'd be cutting it close with DOR and the tax bills coming up. Also running
And
into
it's usually, and traditionally for years and years, it's an October vote, so
yeah, this is again.
how's it slipping in November and that being okay?
I have to rely on Victor on that, but that's the date he told me. So, and he's available.
So if you want to just get clarification, Matt, and just see what the deal is for that. Because I think that I brought it up that it has to be 2 meetings too.
Okay, all right. I'll ask him if it has to be 2 meetings. Maybe it's the 2 October meetings.
Typically, like I said, discuss and vote on the same thing, but traditionally, this has always been one of the more hot button issues. So I think that it's warranted.
Okay, I'll follow up back with him, but right, it is on there for the look ahead.
So Jackie, did you want to scroll back up again? Because I had 2 things, but it looks like you already put on there down a little about discussing the lease amendment for the recal scenario, and we have to see about appointing one of us to a negotiation committee regarding the potential lease extension, et cetera, that's all covered in this. So that we have on the next meeting, because obviously, as you saw with CPDC last night, with pickleball and the recal thing not passing because of parking, we kind of have to get this hashed out. And we don't have another meeting until October 7th. So obviously
There can be a broader discussion, right? Because you can call it a lease amendment, but there may be things that we might want to change in the lease that we have not been afforded an opportunity to.
So that's why we would be appointing one of us to be on the negotiation committee to bring back a recommendation.
But you need feedback from the rest of that's fine, but that person that you appoint takes feedback from the board and goes and has those conversations and spends the extra time, that comes back and reports to the board. That's how we do that. That's how we purchased we got all the easements done, for example, for Meadowbrook, right? That was Mark going, and just, it took time to meet with him, and he comes back and reports to us.
Yeah, so we're appointing the person for that. There's no vote. I don't know when the vote would be. I said, obviously, we want to do it sooner rather than later, but there is no concrete date for a vote on that beyond just appointing.
I went back to the pickleball Warren article, and it says I might have asked Jane about it, there's money for resurfacing in there. So, last night at CPDC, somebody was saying, oh, maybe the town could find some money to redo the parking lot over Burbank. I mean, I think they have capital needs, they have capital investments. I mean, that is a 30-year-old contract. It makes sense now that the building is aging to have a conversation about who's responsible for what and is it getting done? Because it's the property of the town, the building, the equipment that stays with it. I think they might be able to take the Zamboni with them, and I could be wrong about that, but we own everything lock, stock, and barrel, but they're responsible for keeping it running. But that is a very old lease, and it looks like it was put on a typewriter. So,
well, that's feedback that you can give to
you guys. Well, this is our discussion. We're not inviting Burbank to come to this. We're going to discuss.
No, this is just between the 5 of us.
Great, thank you.
Melissa.
So if I'm understanding this conversation correctly, we're gonna not do a memorandum of the lease. We're gonna actually go in and try to amend the current lease that's already been signed between the town and them.
For the so I don't know if either is still on the call, but the way I understand it, for liability, so the part of the lease that we're amending is basically liability for liability reasons. We're amending that, and we're doing a separate MOU for shared use of the parking. Okay. And it has to be done in 2 separate documents, and it has to really be a lease amendment and an MOU.
Okay.
That's the way we're proceeding. So.
But I guess my question is, has the arena agreed to open up the lease for amendments in other sections?
We haven't even asked that.
Yeah, Jane could speak to that. Yeah.
Yes, there's an appetite on the part of the board to open up the lease and talk about some stuff. I think they have some asks as well.
Got it.
So.
'Cause I just don't want, I wouldn't, okay, great, perfect. As long as they are involved in this conversation, and it's not
Yeah, I've
one-sided.
spoken to a member of the board, Mr. McFadden.
Great, thank you.
All right, and then just for,
A long night.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's looking long.
Well, meeting minutes, it was only 5 minutes. And then the November 4th meeting, Jackie, if you can put reorganization on the agenda. Yeah.
Sorry, reorganization of what?
Yeah, select board reorganization on November 4th.
November 4th, he said.
November 4th?
Yep.
So what's that all about? It's pretty unusual.
It is going on the November 4th agenda.
Well, you've requested it, but could you give us a little more background on that request?
I wouldn't want to start discussing and advocating things in advance. It's just going on and we can have it.
Someone else, or is this a personal request from you?
I'm putting it on the agenda.
All you have to do is, okay, you're putting it on the agenda, fair enough.
Correct.
Okay, so, yeah. Okay, all right.
Anything else for future agendas? Once, twice, 3 times.
Well, I guess, can we go back to the next week's meeting real quick?
I would try to get some stuff off that meeting.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hours long.
It is.
I don't think that it's going to be, only because, like you see RCTV, that is not 2 hours, public comment, the whole spiel. That is reserved for a future follow-up meeting. This is, I believe they're just asking because the contract would run out September 30th and we do not have a meeting until October. It is just asking for an extension to keep negotiating, like Melissa had mentioned.
That's correct.
It's not anything beyond that. If you want to make it that, feel free, but this is just.
I don't think that's the thing that's gonna take all the time.
No.
No, can you scroll
What
down,
else?
please?
What's
I just had a question. I'm not adding or, right now I don't want to get rid of things right now, but I might. Keep going down. I think this is like way too long. Keep going. All right. So based on what I heard tonight of the building department with the Terra Cabin, do we know what this, since it's next week, what this
The Mulberry School?
topic is? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Chris about that. I think you just wanted an update on where they're at or something.
It's more of a, I don't want to get into the back and
Yeah.
forth like I just told Karen. I
Right,
don't
yeah.
want to start discussing items, but I think that given the conversation that you and I had, Matt, and the parameters around it, I think that, like I told you, if we don't hear something, then I would like to discuss it at this meeting.
Okay.
That's all.
I would rather see it in his manager's report.
I mean,
than-
I
than
could certainly
open it
do
up to
that,
all
yeah.
of us.
I
We do
think
that.
that
I didn't-
it's,
didn't know if
depending
we
on
could
the
discuss it.
direction, I think it might have.
We have no
might
say in
to
it
be.
anyway. We have no say in it.
I understand that, but there's, I don't want to get more into it. We'll see.
We'll see.
Matt has time.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
We can.
so can we go back up now so we can start getting rid of stuff, please?
I don't think anything has.
No, I'm gonna put it out there. I think because of the timing issues, what a resident just said, scroll down on the disability thing. We're not gonna get on that on the warrant. It doesn't make any sense, timing wise. So I think we can push that out. No, further down. Scroll up. That's just my opinion, again, my opinion on that one. We're having Albert for what? Okay, for that, all right, so, again, that's just something. I guess that's a potential executive session, right, discuss and vote on opioid settlements.
Yeah, that's not going to be an executive session.
It's not.
It's essentially giving me the authority to sign certain documents. We'll work on I'm working with Ivrea on some language for the agenda item in the motion. But there's documents, though, that have to be signed by the end of the month or else we lose out a lot of money.
Okay,
So I
all right.
want to be able to have the authority to do that.
So
Yeah.
with the boards, obviously.
It shouldn't take long.
No, not that. I think
Actually,
I think we can afford to push out Albert for right
Okay,
now, since
all
it's not gonna be on the November town warrant.
Okay.
And if we keep scrolling up, I think that's the only one. I think everything else we have to do.
We already advertised the.
Yeah, we get the liquor licenses, we have to do that.
Yeah,
Extension on the RCTV, we have to do that.
and we have to start talking about trash because we're ready to move on that.
Do we really? I mean, I'm just asking.
We wanted to do
We
it
do.
over 2 meetings. We'll have a vote to you in October, I think, but I think we need to do it over 2 meetings. Yeah.
Valet parking fees, I don't even know what, I know it says up there, but.
Yeah, that could be pushed out, I guess. It's up to Chris. I mean, this is one of
It's more
the.
of, like I said, I wanted that kind of reoccurring discussion on every single agenda. I think this is minimal time required for this, and Deputy Chief can provide a memo in advance.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten a little too accustomed to being done around 10:30. I mean, a little bit earlier, obviously, to not realize that, it might go to 10:30 next week, but I'm gonna obviously do the charter section thing a little bit faster than I did tonight, because there's more reference points now. They can reference this. We're gonna get some questions answered that we already had. Like, it's not, that's what torpedoed this whole meeting. It's like an hour of that.
Yeah.
So like, I think we'll be good.
Okay.
If not, we can move stuff during the meeting.
Liaison reports earlier tonight.
All right.
Slowing down.
Anyone else? I took all that time. Anyone else? No.
No,
No?
I'm good. No, I'm good.
Are you both good? Yes, all set, okay. Then we need another motion then, because we did everything else.
Yeah, we did everything else. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I gave you time, Karen. Seconded by Melissa. All right, we're all in person, so all in favor. 5-0.